All right. What can we do but have a little bit of fun after
A
what
little bit of
happened
next
yesterday?
exercise.
What can we do but have a little bit of fun after what happened yesterday? Listen, we're not happy. We're not happy, but we're going to try and make some sense out of it. And many things we'll talk about tonight. The lineup, the shithousery, the dark arts that were going on, a call to action for the rest of the Premier League, not just us, but can't let Manchester City walk away with Premier Leagues every year. So I'm not against every team retooling, equipping, and going back to challenge, try and take points off City. Squad improvements. What can we do coming this summer? We saw where we need to invest over the summer, and what happened to this month. You know what I mean? Let's try and make some sense out of these 3 draws and a defeat yesterday. So without further ado, I'll go around the horn to Tony. How you doing, Tony? What's your
I'm
opening?
okay, fighting another knee infection. My knee has just had surgery in, but other than that, I'm fine.
Okay. How are you doing, Gary?
I'm doing good. Tony having health problems
Yeah.
is it's just par for the course, right? Arsenal struggling late in the season seems to be par for the course. I guess we'll get into it, but yeah. So I don't know why I smile because or else I'll cry. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Listen, we can make some sense out of this, and we're all going to feel some different way about it. But how are you doing, Stan?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Ray, and good to be here this evening with all of you.
All right. Listen, I suppose I'm going to start off with the lineup yesterday, Tony. I'm no great coach. I'm no great manager. I'm no great student of the game other than watching it for years and years. But I fought and I argued for insurance policies on Sunday. I wanted Kieran Tierney in the lineup. I wanted Georgina in the lineup. I wanted Trossard. At least the last two. We would have liked to have seen them yesterday. In my opinion, anyway, Georgina alongside Partey in midfield in a double pivot, and Trossard to start up front. Very tough game yesterday for us, Tony.
Yeah, I would just probably put Trossard out there. The only probably one I would have put out there, put him in there instead of Zaka. But Partey ended up being terrible, so he almost needed sub for Jorginho at halftime or something. But and I seemed like the announcers kept saying that it looked like he had an injury or wasn't feeling well or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, and we talked to Mahir on Sunday. Eid was being celebrated over the weekend or just before the weekend. So if Thomas Partey had been fasting for the month of Ramadan, he had 2 or 3 days to get sustenance. Not that Muslims don't eat; they eat when the sun goes down. But maybe doing this for the first time was taking a toll on his body, Gary. But we don't know. The number 24 keeps ringing back with us when it comes to Thomas Partey.
Thomas Partey. I mean, you're talking about Trossard, and combination of both of them was not good. But there's a lot of blame to go around. Everybody gets a piece. Not playing Trossard. The last time we won, Trossard started. The game before that we won, Trossard, started. Not him being since he's been out of the starting lineup, we haven't won. And I don't know what he has to do to get a start. We're on like our 4th game in a row. Could have been nice to start him in a couple of those. I mean, I don't know. I think that's for me that's unacceptable at this point in the season when you're looking to try to close out some games. Not to have one of your best players in form starting for you. He deserves to start. He's worked hard. Like if he can't get a start, then nobody can. Because what do you have to do? He's been here, our leading assist man since he's been here. I don't know. So
Yeah.
Partey, as you said, maybe it's an injury, maybe it's fasting, but I think I'm going to say you jinxed him with a 24.
Yeah, it's all me.
24.
Fucking right, screwed shit
there.
up again.
It's all me. It's all me.
Tough.
Let's go to Stan. Well and welcome. A few people in here. Is this the Arsenal Anonymous AA meeting? Evening, peeps. Hope all is well from Stephen and Thunder Road. Good evening, gentlemen. Sell Partey as soon as possible. Think we have got a Champions League. We could use Partey in. Georgina for Partey would have been the same result. Our midfield only looked steady when Georgina partnered Partey, and that's what I'm talking about, Stan. You know, partnering Partey in a double pivot plus Trossard.
Well, when that happened later on in the game, although it was a little bit too late when Georgina came on, it did look to help our shape better against Man City. But your initial question about the starting lineup, me personally, I got what I wanted because I wanted us to start with the same lineup. The only change that I wanted to make was to take out Zinchenko for Kieran Tierney, because I'm a big advocate of defenders being able to defend first. But now that the game is gone and this big game is out of the way, I'm all for changes going forward. I was just a little bit reluctant to make changes for the City game and go against what had gotten us to where we'd gotten so far. But it was a bridge too far, and I'm very open to making changes going forward.
Yeah, Stan. And I'm talking about Georgina with Partey, Thunder Road. I just think we left a lot of space in midfield, Stan, for Kevin De Bruyne to exploit.
Well, I don't know why Mikel Arteta. Two things. Mikel Arteta went there and played his usual game. And it's easy for Pep to understand that because he can look back at footage of 32 other games to see how we've played. And, you know, I was surprised that we didn't have anybody marking Kevin De Bruyne and he was allowed to have a free role and basically do whatever he wanted. And the way that they set up, they managed to keep our wingers, who have been our most productive players, they managed to keep them quiet with Akanji on Saka. But Grealish was also coming back quite a lot to help out and to double up onto Saka. And if you look at the numbers for Martinelli and Saka, I don't think any of them had any shots off. I think both of them had around about 25 passes, of which 21 were completed. A lot of the time they were forced into areas where the press from Man City was so high. People like Zinchenko and Martinelli, when they got the ball, their only option was to pass the ball back. You know, and we got so pinned back. You know, it was quite easy for them to, when they got control of the ball, they'd be nearer to our goal, so they'd have more of a goal threat. I'm surprised that if Mikel Arteta wants to go out and play the way that he wants to play to test himself, I get that. He wants to see how far this team has come, but you've got to have a plan B. I think you've got to be able to have something that the team has worked on as a plan B that you can switch to. And, you know, by the time we made changes, it was just a little bit too late to really affect the game in a positive outcome for us to get any more points.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with admitting you put the wrong lineup out there. After 20 minutes, we're hemorrhaging. We're a goal down, and we're hemorrhaging chances. We should have been 2 or 3 down, but for the play of Aaron Ramsdale, who I'm just going to say right now was our man in the match, Tony.
Again.
You know? Again, you know, at Anfield and at the Etihad, your goalkeeper turns out to be your best player on the pitch.
And he should have saved the first goal.
Yeah, that's a big ask, I think.
He saved about 3 other goals. So
yeah,
the fact that I don't think he missed the first goal. I think that's a really good shot. It curled out. It curled outside and came back in. It's not like it wasn't like one of the best. It wasn't like it wasn't the best midfielder in the world probably right now on form.
Yeah. Kevin De Bruyne and no protection midfield alongside Thomas Partey, who did seem to be struggling fitness wise or speed wise. I think a fully fit Partey can cover the ground needed to do that, can anticipate.
And he's the guy that was guarding KDB. It didn't look like it because he was poor and he was slow and he was probably injured, not 100%. But he's the man. Like he's the one that KDB was just running by him the entire game, and that was his man. So
Yeah.
I don't think it was a case of we didn't have anybody guarding. I think he just could not guard him yesterday.
How many times now in 3 years have we seen the real Partey that's fit
In the big games? Like never.
Well, this is only his first time, I think, in an Arsenal shirt playing against Man City. There's a lot of stats, weren't there, that have now been burnt to the ground. The other one was we've never lost a game with Thomas Partey in the team. Well, forget that one.
This season, right?
Put that
When
This season, right?
Put
Yeah.
that in the furnace.
Stan, you got to see Man City play basically two up top. They pushed Kevin De Bruyne up front with Haaland, and they worked off each other very well. And I think Grealish and Silva, Bernardo Silva, stretched our fullbacks wide on the pitch, and we were left with Holding and Gabriel with Partey, a very, very slow Partey. No double pivot in there to help either.
I mean, as disappointed as I was with the result, I did have a little wry smile when I saw that they were playing sort of like with two up front, because as I've often told you, Ray, it's coming back. 2 men up front. It's like fashion. At some point, flared trousers will come back in and micro skirts. Everything always comes back around. And two up front, gradually seeing more and more teams adopting to a two up front, especially when they're in possession of the ball. But
nobody has a Haaland and a KDB.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. It's pretty tough when you have those two players in tandem.
I'm sorry.
Look,
do
you don't think Balogun and Jesus or somebody else could do that?
No, it'd be
once again, you got probably
or
the best,
Trossard,
one of the
Trossard and a Balogun.
Not at that level. Not at that level. Look, Stan, Edu said in the All or Nothing documentary, this is the levels that we need. We know what Manchester City are, and these are the levels that we need to reach. So challenge accepted, but we have a long way to go yet to reach their level.
Very much so. And I mean, look, I think everybody was expecting us after the 3 games before that, with the results that we had. I think everybody was hoping that because we haven't had a run of games with bad results, that we'd gotten those 3 out of the way, and perhaps this would be a game where we could turn the corner. But it wasn't. This is 4 games now with the results that we've had. And these are not the results that you win a championship with, unfortunately.
No.
I think if anyone is talking about, we've lost the league now, I think you can safely say that the league was lost after the West Ham game. I'd accept the draw with Liverpool. I can accept that. But not getting 3 points at West Ham, not getting 3 points at Southampton, that I think is what killed us, because we could have got into this game with a big cushion. And I also think that Arsenal were thinking about this game before they even went to play Southampton, which I think has undone us. I think we kind of dismissed Southampton and were already, I'm talking about the team and the management, were already looking at this game. That doesn't help us against Southampton. Mathematically, the league is still on, but come on. I mean, Man City now have one hand on the trophy. But as disappointed as I am, I won't look at the season as a failure. I still look at this season as an improvement. If I go by where we finished in the previous season and where we finished in the season before that, I say that we've made an improvement. It's just disappointing that we had our future in our own hands and we blew it with the last few results, so we weren't able to secure the 3 points.
Yeah. And look, there's still challenges this season, Tony, that we need to, first of all, the mentality's got to be there, Tony, that we go these next 5 games and win as many of them as possible. Go to Newcastle, beat Chelsea at home, beat Brighton at home, go away to Nottingham Forest, who are not easy right now. That's not easy to go away to, and finish against Wolverhampton Wanderers on the final day of the season. Win those last 5 games, and come what may, we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? But the mentality's got to be there for this club to reach 90 points.
I think the mentality is there, but what I kept mentioning for the last 3 months now is the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of minutes.
Yep.
Because they were playing cup games. They shouldn't have been playing them. And now they're tired. You can see
Yeah.
it.
You can see it.
And we'll be lucky to win 3 games out of the final 5, I think. And just, we'd have to prepare right. Knew we needed cover in positions. Needed a center back. We got a center back that only played, 20 minutes? Whatever he played.
Yeah. Against Leeds and coming on at Anfield as well.
I mean, he has to be
Yeah.
better. He has to be better than Holding, right?
We're going to see this player is going to play. I don't know if he's going to play in these 5 remaining games, but keep yours. We're going to see what he's made of next season, especially.
I mean, you have to buy a player that's better than the players you have.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there's no point of buying them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
me and Stan in December, January, were saying we needed somebody flexible at center back, somebody like Indica that be available now to sign. We could go ahead and sign him if we wanted to. Then you have cover for Gabriel. But instead, we buy a player that we're not using. We buy Trossard. He's shown what he can do. We're not playing him. I don't know why. It goes back to Arteta doesn't trust the thing. But I'm going to go back to what Stan started with earlier on the formations and stuff. Watching Ted Lasso this week is talking about total football, which didn't start in the 70s in the Netherlands. It started in the 30s where players would be expected to fill in any spot. That's what Pep does. Pep has the players. Arteta tries to do it. We don't have the players. Just play a simple fucking formation. Stop having switching between defense and offense. Just go out there. It's simple. It's not hard. Like you said, if you want a double pivot, put a double pivot in there. Instead, it's the players. I mean, I counted at least 5 times Zaka's ahead of Jesus. Your striker's not meant to be in the fucking midfield.
I think it is in this formation, though, in the way that he sets them up. Maybe you don't like it or understand it, and maybe myself as well.
No,
but
that's what I'm saying.
This is part of what.
that total
This is part of
thing.
the tactics, I believe. We saw it with Lacazette as well. But I mean, Gabriel Jesus at times was he was in our defensive box.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Is that number 9 on the back there of someone defending?
That's what I'm saying. Just keep it simple. Why do we have to play that style of football?
Yeah. As Stephen said here, Partey had no chance no matter what he did. He just got overrun in midfield, got absolutely no help from Xhaka, who spent too much time bombing forward, not getting back to help out. The match was screaming for a change after 20 minutes, but it was never going to happen. Arteta was wedded to substitutions in the second half. He's got to learn, like the rest of the team has to learn. It's about maturity. I think this is the big thing that we lacked in this month of April here. Maturity. We didn't have the maturity to see out games coming up to halftime at West Ham, at Anfield, and we didn't have the maturity to play a sound game against Southampton. It was very helter-skelter. Time to look forward to the transfer window, says BX Gunner. We have to look forward to Chelsea, and we've got to get back on the road here. Tony, it's I'm going to go to Gary next, but Tony, it's Southampton and Manchester City again. 2 of the poorest results last season for me. I think we lost 5-0 at Man City last season, and we lost 1-0 away to Southampton. And those are the 2 teams. Gary, your boy Anthony Richardson went number 4 overall to Indianapolis Colts. He is impressed in workouts, but I think he's way too inaccurate to go that high. We shall see.
Yeah, he's just another Tebow. He's probably good. He's not even good in college. So the fact that he's got drafted so high is so much of it's. I'm a Gator, but I don't think he's ready. One, he's not ready for the NFL, and he can't throw. So I don't understand how he makes it. We'll see. Hopefully, truly proves us wrong. But his college career was not built on having a good throwing arm.
Right.
I got a lot of stuff to say if I get to say.
Go. Yeah, you're up next. Go.
All right, I got a lot of stuff. Hopefully, yeah. So hear me out. I'm just gonna go back. I'm going based
Ray
on
said we might have up to 3 hours, Gary.
I might go for. I could go
okay.
for a while if you guys. I assume.
All right, but
Tony
and Stan can jump in if they.
Yeah, but I got like four things I want to bring up anyways. Right. So I'll just go backwards based on what was said last, all the way to like the first thing I heard that I wanted to comment on.
Yeah.
We got 5 games to go.
Yep.
Are we gonna? My thought is we will try to win all 5 of them. Right? We win all 5 of them. At the least, we put a little bit of pressure on City. This is not time to figure out if Kiwior is going to be good for next season. That time has come and gone. It came and gone. It was here and gone a long time ago. It's not time to figure out whether or not we got players for next season. It's time to take this end of the season, finish strong based on what we've just done the last 4 games. Try to get 15 out of 15, and let's see what that does. You never know, but if we don't try, then we just given up on the season. And I don't think we should be giving up on the season when we don't know how things will pan out. We can assume they're going to win out, but it's not a guarantee. So we shouldn't take that chance and try to figure out. So Kiwior, nah. Go with our best 11. I used to say our strongest 11. Forget that. Best 11 players, like if they're in form, they play. If they're out of form, they sit. Yeah, I don't think Partey has shown that he deserves a starting spot. He might be fine on Tuesday when there's nothing to play for, but nah. Trossard needs to start. He needed to start. I think people were talking about him starting in Liverpool. He scored 3 goals against them. Couldn't get a game for us. He started. We won 7 in a row when he started. He hasn't started since. We haven't won since. It's not is it a coincidence? I don't know.
And we're also scoring 3, 4, 5 goals a game too.
So Kiwior Trossard not starting, I think is just like I don't get it. I don't know what you have to do when you're on. We talk about this all the time. This player's on form. He needs to get in the lineup. Well, what does he have to do? The man won Player of the Month and couldn't get a start in April. How does that happen? I don't know.
You know what Arteta's answer would be, Gary? He's not doing enough in training.
The man is your best player on form right now, and we just killed it. Nope. No, we're not going to play him. So that doesn't make any sense. Milsrif Rowe coming on when the game's over. I don't get it. What did he just all of a sudden he decided he's going to start practicing in up for the City match? I was looking at the minutes, and if you look at the total minutes played, total all competitions, our minutes are about equal to what City players are doing. So I don't think playing minutes is an issue. I'm like looking at it. They've got about 5 players over 3,000. We got about 5 players over 3,000. So I don't think that's the issue. And if we're going to play in the Champions League next season, they're going to have to be able to play those minutes, or we're going to have a better squad. So remember last season we went through that whole stretch of 3 games, right? We had 3 games of bad performances and then another 3 games of bad performances. This season we've improved from there. We got 4 games of bad performances, backed up with another 4 games of bad performances. If you look at the 4 games stretches that we've had in this season,
3 and 4.
Well, 4 games, not 4 Premier League games. 4 games.
Okay.
4 games because we played City in the cup, and we lost, and then we won. Then we dropped points in the next 3, and ended with a City match. So basically, anytime we're playing City, we basically dropped points in the 3 games prior to, or we didn't win prior to that. Twice this season. killers. They killed us. Those
It's
kind of
all-
those run ups to the biggest games against the best team in the world.
That's what we feared. Yeah.
We won no games. You know, so not good at all. And you guys are talking about Pep going with 2 at the front in a game that we play. I don't know if we've seen them play that way before, but for Arteta to do that, that's too much. For 3 games, the same formation isn't working.
Yep.
For 3 games in a row, the same formation isn't working. But for some reason, against the best team on form, probably the best team in the world, the best team over the last 5 years, it's going to work now. None of that makes any sense to me. So that's my everything I got.
Stan, you want to have first go at those topics?
Well, I would say that hindsight is a brilliant thing, because had Mikel Arteta, let's say Mikel Arteta had taken suggestions of what a lot of people have been saying. Let's say he went with 3 at the back, we had the same score. I'm sure people will be going, "Oh, why did he change it? Why did he change from what's got us there?" Do you know what I mean? Had he started with Trossard and it had gone wrong, it is, a lot of it is hindsight, and a lot of it is that we'll never know.
No, come on.
And when a player comes out, if a player is out of form, and is one of your best players, how do you know when the form comes back? Because training probably just looks like training. Sometimes you've maybe got to take a bit of a gamble. I mean, did we all really think that Thomas Partey was going to have stinkers for the amount of games in a row that he has?
No.
So much so that I remember when we signed Thomas Partey, I remember the vibes from people.
Mm-hmm.
The way that we just went to Spain in the middle of the night and paid his release fee and just bundled him in the back of a van and brought him back to North London. Everybody was pleased, But I do think that saying we've got to sell him, he's got to go now, I do think that is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction.
Yes.
I'm saying, he's done, he's busted, he's got to go. Players do come in and out of form sometimes, and it's a little bit disappointing in that he's come out of form when we needed him the most. But that's down to the manager to manage. It's up to us to have backups and people to come in and try and stake a claim when those players go out. As for Emile Smith-Rowe, I mean, he didn't put in Teabag, did he? He's obviously looked at that and thought, well, I'm not going there again for the near future until that's better. So he probably thinks, well, this game is over now, and I'm probably going to be looking at maybe using somebody else other than Teabag for up and coming games. And he probably wanted to get more minutes into ESR's legs and see if how he would react to going into a game like that. I mean, he's not going to win it for us, surely, obviously. So, yeah, that's all I've got to say. And that's all I've got to say about that.
That's all I've got to say about that. Sicko Vibe said Arteta saw Saka and Martinelli were getting no joy but persisted in the same gameplay. And it's quite telling by the end of the game. Saka was withdrawn. Martinelli was withdrawn. Gabriel Jesus was withdrawn. And I do have to say, though, Trossard showed us things in games, even when he came on during this stretch of 3 draws and a loss. Trossard showed me enough that I was calling for him to start games. And there's a lot to go around the players, management, and the club as well. I think Arteta's got to learn. Listen, it is the apprentice versus the master, and Arteta's got to learn pretty quickly to use the best resources of the team and the club. We don't have the same resources as City, but hopefully we can get there. In the summertime, we can add a couple of additions as well. And Tony, when we do that, add more players to the squad, we've got to start expanding our base towards attacking cups, going into the Champions League, and being good in the Premier League as well, and spreading those minutes out amongst squad players.
Yeah, I'll get to that. But as I go where Gary said on the minutes for the players of Arsenal and City, 5 players with 3,000 plus minutes. The City players aren't going to put in the shifts that Gabriel and Saka are. They got better players beside them, so they're not expelling near of energy that our players are.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's a good point.
But for the future, he has to adapt, but I don't think he's going to. You heard it in the documentary, All or Nothing. This is a way we're going to play. We're going to shift players in and out, but this is what we're going to play. He has to have a fucking plan B, C, D, whatever. You adapt.
Yep.
He's not adaptable. And I don't think it's going to change. I really don't.
I think it will change. You're looking at Mikel Arteta, who's approximately 4 years in the job, up against Pep Guardiola, 16 years in the job. He's come from Barcelona B team. He won the league with the Barcelona B team, became the Barcelona manager, won 3 La Ligas in his 4 years with Barcelona, had Lionel Messi there, won 2 Champions Leagues with that great Barcelona team, went to Bayern Munich, won 3 Bundesligas, and now he's dominating English football.
I think you can skip the first 2, Ray, because almost any manager can do that at those teams.
Fair enough. He went to Bayern Munich. He won the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich. You could say the same thing, Tony. You know, we can win the Bundesliga. But now he's come to Man City, and he's constructed sides that have won 4 Premier League titles. But going back to Arteta, yes, he has to learn about this. I put this banner up, Tony, from earlier in the season. You might recognize this one. To be or not to be, progressive or pragmatic. I've lauded Arteta for trying to be progressive and attacking and trying to get 30 wins in the season. But I actually see now we should have been more pragmatic in some away games here, like this game. I'm not saying we could have won the game if we went with a double pivot of Georgina and Partey with Trossard in the lineup. I'm not saying we could have or would have won the game. We all saw that game. Man City were unstoppable. I don't think any team in the world could have lived with them last night. And, we looked really, really poor in the face of what they were doing to us, And there's something we have to learn from, That's the level. That's the level we have to get to. We've climbed above Liverpool, above Man United, Newcastle. And yeah, we all look pretty somber tonight, But
here's the thing, though, right? Maybe and allegedly, you're saying that that's the level that we need to get to. The level that Man City have gotten to, allegedly, they haven't done it fairly.
Allegedly, yes.
Do you know what I mean?
I know. Yep. I know exactly what you mean.
There's a part of me that thinks that sometimes it's so, it is good watching them play, and we all saw what they can do. But in the back of my mind, I keep thinking, would they be able to do that if they never had the resources at their disposal that they weren't supposed to have, if these findings are correct? So then it's not fair, is it?
No, it's not fair looking at them and looking at their substitute bench, looking at their squad.
It's a bit like saying, as a Formula One team, you can only change your engine during the season 2 times, but this one team, they can change their engine 4 times.
Yeah. And look, you're looking at players worth 50 million sitting on the bench, waiting to come on, and they can refresh their team. Mahrez played at the weekend against a team that's coming up into the Premier League and scored a hat-trick in the FA Cup semi-final. And he doesn't get a game. He doesn't get to start. These are the levels that we need to get to. But on the other hand, Man City can only bring in 25 players. They might be the best players in the world. But we have to also identify those players, whether we attract them through trying to sell London. And this is an issue that Edu's got to get home in the summertime as well. Edu's got to bring these big names in that supposedly we couldn't get in January. Caicedo we couldn't get over the line with Brighton because maybe we were too forceful. Who knows what goes on behind the scenes? Irrespective, we're going to have however long the window is going to be.
Well, I'm pleased we got Trossard ahead of Mudryk. personally.
Absolutely. We've gotten a
just for the
player.
amount of money, and even before we saw what we've seen what's happened to him at Chelsea. Even before that, I was saying like, this is mental. This is absolutely mental business. So I'm kind of glad the way
what's the point of having
worked.
Trossard if you're not going to use him?
Yeah,
you might as well not have brought him in.
I agree with that one, Stan. That Trossard's come to the club and he's been sitting on the bench probably more times than he's started games. You know what I mean?
It's like having a Lamborghini parked in a garage, but you want to drive around in a Pinto.
And I think this is something that Mikel
Pintos
Arteta
are
needs.
underrated, Tony.
But I think Mikel Arteta needs to look at this. He needs to look at the players. Does seem to be wedded to some players.
They're
Stan,
a little explosive, Stan.
he is wedded to some
rear-ended.
players. If it's going to be more of a squad game, Mikel Arteta's got to use his squad more. It can't be Zinchenko all the time. We want Kieran Tierney in the lineup more times as well, more minutes. Georgina's been sitting on the bench when he could have helped. Trossard's been sitting on the bench when he could have helped. I'm going to give Emile Smith-Rowe a break because we don't know his status, his medical status. But hopefully
he's on the bench. He must be fit, right?
Yeah.
He might not be 90 minutes match fit, but the more minutes you get, the closer you get to that, I suppose.
Why isn't he playing in under 23s?
Sicko Vibe said Arsenal played with fear. A confident Arsenal would have given them a game. Did it feel like that to us?
No.
I thought
timid with fear, just the body language when they were out on the pitch before kickoff. Mikel Arteta, I read an interview of Mikel Arteta, so I didn't actually hear him speak. It was all written, which made it funnier because I asked him about Man City and he goes, yeah, well, obviously we know about this and Haaland and this, that, this, and we went through, I know about this and obviously we know about that and we've looked at this, but we've looked at that. And then he ended up by saying, but we're just gonna play our game and blah 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 and not think about it. And I thought to myself, you fucking sounds like you've been thinking about it. That was like 2 paragraphs of stuff that you went over in detail. And then you rounded it off by saying, yeah, but we're not overthinking it and blah blah blah. And it sounded to me the opposite.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling Arteta spent the whole time telling our team how good City were and what we're going to have to stop and what the threats are and everything like that. Basically, bigging them up the entire time instead of like getting his team ready to play some football. You know what I mean? I don't know what he's doing, but he didn't do a good job. And once again, you know what he did? I think he's scared to play City.
I don't think that, Gary.
Look at us in City games.
It's the players.
How many times are we going to go into a City match with Arteta and we don't look like we want to win this thing? Like none of them. Right? We make silly mistakes. We're like, all right, this game we won't make any mistakes.
Gary, but why are you handing out passes to the players?
I'm not.
Well, you're framing it that way.
But like I said, it's a total failure, all the way from the top to the bottom. Everybody. And
yes.
but if I'm going to go after Arteta, I think he doesn't have his team ready to play. The players, are you kidding me? You have all these points between you and City. You can't give me one game in that 3-game stretch with a win. Come on.
Right.
One? Not. They didn't give us one win.
Ask Gary, Tony.
You give us a win. You give us a win in one of those 3. Maybe we're talking about. Let me talk. Everybody's talking. I get one set of time to talk, and next thing I'm sitting here. Come on.
I'm listening, Gary.
I know you are. You like me. You like me. Tony don't like me. I don't know why.
I love
we
Gary.
like Gary. Stan and I like Gary talk. Tony.
If I listen, I might learn something.
Tony, say.
Did you learn anything from me today?
Ray.
Tony.
Oh, damn.
It is the manager. It is the manager. What happened last year?
Write your own headlines, Gary.
What happened last year when Albert coached?
Yeah. What? Yeah, exactly. That was one of our best performances against City last year.
What was?
The one where Mikel Arteta
45 minutes, yeah?
Was not on the sideline.
For 45 minutes? Is that the one you're talking about?
I think we played a better game than 45 minutes. We lost it in fine margins. And I will put this down to the maturity of the players. Why couldn't we win a game in April, other than the April Fool's Day when we did win against Leeds? Why could we not win a game against West Ham? I think it's maturity. I think this team is learning harsh lessons on the job in the bright heat of a title race, a run-in as well.
Why is this team losing when the one player that's every time he starts we win is sitting on the bench watching it?
Yeah, there's
Right, and that's on the manager.
That's right, Gary.
Why
agree.
does he only get 20 minutes in a game when he could probably come in and get 30, even a half?
I agree with you, Gary. I agree with you.
That's the manager making a mistake as opposed to the coaching.
Yes. The manager has made mistakes. I will be the first to defend him, but I'm also here saying Mikel Arteta made mistakes in his lineup recently, not putting Trossard in there. But you pick a team, they've got to go and win, no matter who they're playing.
You just said the manager also has a say in this. Next thing you know, you're just saying the player. If he puts the wrong players out there, they're not going to get the job done.
You're saying the Arsenal 15, whoever you pick from those 15 players, cannot go to West Ham and win, cannot play at home against Southampton and win. Well, we're asking
Just
Aaron
the way that
Ramsdale.
just the way that we've made some of our comebacks shows you. See, why can't you start like that? Why are we having to dig ourselves out of a hole now and finish 2-2 with 1 point instead of finishing 3-2 with 3 points?
Maybe if you start Trossard,
that's annoying, isn't it?
You won't have to worry about coming back.
Listen, I want Trossard to play as well.
Trossard comes in the Southampton game, and the game changes.
Yes,
and we come back from 2 down. So I don't know. That sounds like maybe a reason to start him. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm beginning to understand now, for me, why Pep played Jesus out in the wing. Because I said this to Ray. I don't know if you saw that message I sent. I think that for me, Gabriel Jesus reminds me a lot of Theo Walcott, in that he's a winger who thinks he's a striker. You know, when Theo Walcott finally got his wish to move away from the right-hand side and play through the middle, it didn't work out, and he was very quick to beg to go back on the right-hand side. And the similarities between Walcott and Jesus, they hold on to the ball too long into the penalty area. For me, when they're playing through the middle as a striker and receiving the ball, not moving the ball towards the penalty area, whether it's from the wings, but when they're sort of static in that area, they hold on to the ball for too long a little bit. And I think now that, and it's something that I've been thinking about for a while, but obviously I try not to be negative for the fact of being negative. And it's been a very positive time around Arsenal. But I've always felt that if Arsenal really want to get to that next level, when I mean that next level, I'm talking about the Real Madrids and the Man Cities of this world, consistently good in all competitions, getting to semi-finals of competitions, getting to finals and maybe sometimes winning. We need to have our main 9 or person that plays through the middle needs to be a big guy. I think that we've got totally the wrong profile of player in Trossard and Gabriel Jesus as our starting person through the middle. They're good as alternatives. They're good to come on off the bench and add a little bit of jiggery pokery. But I honestly feel that we need a great profile would have been Vlahovic. I think if we can get someone like Vlahovic as that linchpin in that position, we will go a lot further in competitions. And if you look at the teams that are successful in the leagues in other countries, they all seem to have somebody of that profile within their ranks.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're missing a little bit, because I would love to see us have opportunities where, for example, Saka comes off and to replace him is Gabriel Jesus. I don't think there'd be a great drop off. Gabriel Jesus may be able to offer something slightly different to what Saka was doing, but I think it would still be productive. And maybe, you know, if we, for now, with the next game, started Trossard instead of Jesus, Jesus can be on the bench and then he can either come on for Saka or he could come on for Trossard if Trossard's having a bad day at the office. But I'm in agreement with all of you now that the Man City game has gone, I think it's time to add some more players in and give them an opportunity to start, like the Rhys Nelsons of this world.
Yeah.
Maybe a Georgina. I think we need to go to 4 games on the performance that we've had. And someone like Thomas Partey, you can't just keep playing him and hope that he's going to come back into form. There's too much at stake.
And we put a lot of pressure on
So
Partey.
here's a scenario.
midfield.
What would you guys think of this?
Nelson needs games. Yes, BX.
Yeah.
Gary?
What would you guys think of this? You sell Balogun, you sell Jesus, you sell Nketiah, and you go all in for Osimhen.
No.
Yeah.
You still
No.
say no.
Yeah, I think Jesus can be valuable to us, but maybe not as your nailed on person through the middle and everybody else has to be behind him. I think that there's other roles for him in this squad. You know, there are games that he can start, there are games that he can come off the bench.
Oh, yesterday when
The others,
Martinelli
the others, I'll pay for the taxi.
when Martinelli came off, he was playing mostly on the wing yesterday.
It's a little
I
too
know
late.
we're
Isn't
talking
it?
about we need a center forward who's who could command the middle. Osimhen would be that guy.
Mikel Arteta
We
said,
can't 1 minute look at Haaland and go, you know what? It'd be nice to have a big center forward like that, and then not say no, I don't want to do that.
I don't think Stan would be against that. It's just
he said
selling
no. He
all
wouldn't.
three.
He said he wouldn't do that trade.
You said sell all three.
Yeah, well, we
strikers
need to.
for
We're not gonna spend the money. Right?
Well, we're going to spend money for Declan Rice. Who's to say the money's not there?
But you can
guarantee
you can get a Declan Rice.
Drop 80 to 90 million on one player. He's been itching. He's been itching to spend that on one player, and I guarantee he doesn't care who it is. It's happening this summer. He's gonna drop.
No, I know, but
Champions League money.
For me, that's actually money. You're selling players to get in a big dominating center forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what we keep saying we're missing. This is an opportunity. Like that would be one opportunity to do it, and you could still buy your $80 million,
what any of
million
you?
pound
But what happens
midfielder.
to your depth, Gary?
Pardon me?
That hurts your depth again. If you're selling those players, you'd have to.
You have Trossard there, right? As depth.
You have Trossard.
That route.
But
you have Trossard.
Would you be
Nelson,
against?
Sorry.
No way they're going to sell Gabriel Jesus after only one season. I don't see that happening. Thanks for that. Goodbye. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
We need to do something, Ruthless, because we're not doing it enough. We're gonna be in the same boat talking about this hole and that hole at the end of the season, no doubt.
Listen,
if we don't do something big.
Here's the biggest thing: is our midfield is struggling, and that's where the investment needs to go. If we bring in a Declan Rice and a Caicedo, or even one of those two, we get a settled midfield that can control games a lot better than we have been controlling games. If we control games, Saka and Martinelli come into games like this, and we actually see them getting the ball. We didn't see them getting any ball.
But there's an argument that our defense is the problem. That's the area that's leaking all of these goals all season. It's only because we've been coming back and winning games. It kind of, the fact that we were behind in that game, it goes out the window. Oh, we won! Look at that, brilliant! But we've let in a lot of goals at home as well.
It's that needs after the World Cup because we were tied with Newcastle on the fewest goals at 11. Right there in the World Cup, then we come back and we're just floodgates are open.
Yeah,
that's it. Newcastle.
I always say we need like 5 to 10 players, and I think we're still there. Like when I say 5 to 10, it's not because we may not have them on the squad, but we haven't seen them enough this season to count them as a player that's played. But I heard Tom Canton this morning talking about, if he's going to bring in 5 players, he's going to bring in a player behind Saliba.
This is a
right back, 2 midfielders, and a forward. Right.
Yeah.
That's what he would bring in, and it's we have holes all over the place. So as long as if we could like you said, midfield's always been the issue, right? Do you remember when? For me, I remember when we played when we had Unai Emery, right? And we got killed. We were getting killed that season. The last season he was there. Where was it? Mostly it was all in the midfield. all in the midfield.
You
Yeah.
don't
getting
help yourself
killed.
though, innit? When you play little Lucas Torreira as a 10. I mean, you're not helping yourself at all.
No, but you know,
No.
but I mean, that's what we did,
Very
and
nice.
we're still talking about it now. We're getting killed now. Now we can beat most teams, but we're not going to beat the big teams with the midfield we got, right? And that's what we found. You
Yeah.
know,
We've
Yeah.
done it since Liverpool. We've seen it.
See-
Barely shooting yesterday.
Um,
8 shots on goal. That means your midfield is not getting your ball to attack.
We
So look-
concede 5 or 6 less goals, Stan, and we are in the picture. Go ahead.
We have all seen us play better than we have over the last few games. We've seen it this season with our own eyes, right? We've seen it. So what's happened? Tiredness, fatigue. What is it? We're not in any other competitions that are worrying us.
it's everything.
We're not being
I think it's
distracted
everything.
by something else. We've seen this team play so much better. What's happened?
I think it's
I
everything.
heard
Mental pressure.
Ray Parler had a very, very good point to make. It's maturity. This team is not mature enough to be able to see
I don't
out
think
a
that's the
2-0.
problem.
Well, let me say my say, and then you get your say. I think it's maturity, and Ray Parler said the same thing, that we have 2-0 leads going into 40 minutes at Anfield and very close to halftime at West Ham, and we lose our head. We give away goals coming up to halftime. You need to see out the game till the halftime. The best sides do this. They stay solidified. They don't give away anything. We give away a goal just before halftime at Anfield and a goal just before halftime at West Ham. And then they've got renewed purpose for the second half. I think it's maturity. And the other thing is, we're asking, Aaron Ramsdale has been brilliant for us, but we're asking him to be Ederson. We're asking.
So quick interjection there. So you're saying that maybe if we had maybe another couple of players around about the 29 year of age profile, is that something that would have helped us this season? Do you know what I mean?
I think that would have helped us this evening, this season, to have some
You have
players.
Trossard and Georgina, who are both, 27, 28, 30, and you didn't play them. So I don't think that's you're just making excuses for the man. He had older players, seasoned players who've been playing in the league, and he didn't play them in 4 games. He didn't play them.
But also
remember we counted up
youngest
23
team.
league championships that this team has won in various leagues in different places. So you'd think, wouldn't you, that there's experience in there. They've been at the sharp end. It might have been in Switzerland for Basel back to back, but you still went through the league. You still knew what it takes. You still knew that how you had your concentration must go right to the very end. So sometimes I feel that the youngness part, when people say, "Oh, it's a young team," is a bit of a myth, because even someone like Teabag, who played horribly the last time he got onto the pitch, has won a couple of. I think he's won at least one league title, right? That he was instrumental in. He was instrumental in it as well.
We're going to go to Tony in a second. We have seen Ramsdale make a mistake against Southampton. We've seen Gabriel Magalhaes make mistakes against West Ham, even last night.
You're running a tight ship tonight, man, didn't you?
But we've met our
Tony.
Our players have made mistakes at vital times. Partey is experienced. He's made a mistake at West Ham. Tony.
Both Rays are full of shit. The whole season we were talking about the players going out there, getting early goals. If a team would come back and get a goal, what would we do? We'd automatically go back ahead. We were talking about resilience of a fight. We had all that. Now the fucking players are tired. Also, if the manager hasn't changed the tactics, he's not playing his best players. Trossard's on the bench. You got fucking Rob Holding back there, slower than molasses. Still at a halfway line. You can't press with a Rob Holding.
Yeah. I
You
did.
keep bringing up this minutes thing, and I think it's. And then when I tell you that both sides have players with over 3,000 minutes, you tell me, you know what? It's different for City because guess what? When they play 37 minutes, they don't have to work as hard. So now we move the goalposts. Yeah. So now we move the goalposts because the minutes don't mean you've been on the pitch playing.
There
and
is.
also, it means that you don't have to play 100%
Do the players
anymore.
look tired, Gary?
Gary, I do kind of get behind what Tony's saying because the minutes may be the same, but the game state is different. We sometimes are chasing games.
We hadn't lost up to that point in like
No,
10, 12
but we haven't won
games. You make it
comfortably
sound like
either.
we've been behind the 8 ball every time we played. Come on. No, that's not
How
true.
many 2-1, 3-2s did we have this season?
You know how many goals have been scored in like the last like
We
6 or
have
7
scored
games? We've
a
been
lot of
scoring.
goals.
So that's not come on.
We,
All right.
we were scoring, Gary, but we're
Down
not
the road.
scoring now because Trossard's not out there. Trossard's out there and we score.
I think
We weren't
looking
scoring
over
lots of
this
goals
summer,
early in the season.
Mikel Arteta must know he's favored many players over others, and Trossard's not gotten an equal shake of the stick. Georgina hasn't either, and many others. Maybe even Rhys Nelson, who played really well last night when he came on. Rhys Nelson, when fit and able to play, has not let Arsenal down this
He
time.
got 2 goals and he's been in no man's land.
Thunder Road
We
said
got the 2 goals, but then he got injured after that, I believe. Right?
yeah.
But he's
had some injury issues. Thunder
No,
Road
but you know
said,
what? For the last 2.5 months, he hasn't played enough minutes based on what he's done when he's been on the pitch. Because I looked at that because somebody brought it up that he hasn't actually been injured really, and since the World Cup he got injured when he came back in like February. He's been available to us, and we haven't used him. So Arteta, so this whole like when we get to the Champions League, it's going to be different. Unless Arteta changes his ways, it won't be any different. We'll be doing the same thing, killing the players. And what I have been saying forever. I said rotation. You need to rotate your players. And I keep hearing, well, you don't need to rotate them. They're okay. They're young. And now we're coming to the end of this season, and guess what? They are drained. They are drained physically, mentally, and then they're breaking down in some cases. So
we
you have to rotate, and it doesn't matter if those players can't make it through a season. This is the second season in a row where at the end of the season we've got some breakdowns of players and we're struggling, right? Second season in a row.
We've learned something in this this title challenge. We have welcomed Nick Wilson also. Thank you, Stan. We have seen something this season in this title race. We have been in a title race with City, and we've taken it to the last few games here, and hopefully we can push them right to the last week of this thing. But we have seen Man City maintain their squad, and I think Pep has used his squad properly to build up momentum to the end. And
he's got 3 squads, hasn't he? So
I know. And Mikel Arteta is right. He has to use the resources that Arsenal have available to the best of his ability. Now he's going to look back this summer and say, did I use them to the best of his ability? Maybe not. He made some mistakes in these few games as well. But that's something we need to look at in terms of not using up the legs in our squad. Toward the end of the season, we're kind of getting tired here. You know what I mean? Any other general points about the game? We're going to go into the game a little bit more. I want to go on to some of the incidents. I thought the referee had a good game as well. I will preface that. There's a couple of incidents that I didn't like. Now, set aside the offside. There was a kick out from Diaz on Ben White. Nothing was done there.
He gave both. Once again, he gave like when he's given both sides a yellow card. When in both scenarios, I believe they instigated the situation. That we got to get screwed at with that kind of when that happens each time, because they start something, whatever happens afterwards, right? Both players get a yellow. That was just
Diaz kicks out the calf of Ben White.
somehow Ben White did something and got a yellow, right? So
You're missing,
whatever you say, I don't get it. Whatever Ben did, it wasn't anywhere close to a
you're
kick out.
missing
But I
part
think
of
they
that,
said
though, Ray.
I think they said that he did something as well. I think they said Ben
Mm.
White did something as well. But it was just like, come on.
You're missing something there, Ray.
Tony, go.
The fourth official was right there, right on top of it. He's seen him kick him out.
Mm-hmm.
To me,
But it's not a red card, right? It's not a red card.
Should have been a red.
That's a red card.
It's not a. I was listening to Nixon.
I think it should have been a red.
It wasn't.
My opinion.
It didn't really strike him that hard. Is basically what he said.
It's the intent.
You don't have to. It's the intent.
It's the danger part of it. It's
Stan, what are your thoughts on that kick out from Diaz?
Well, I agree with Tony. I mean, the official is right there on top of it. Yet, for some reason, the punishment is both players get booked just to make it even.
Yeah, I hate that.
Doesn't make any sense.
That's a cop out. That's a cop out.
Now we've got a defensive player who's on a yellow card who has to watch himself. Cheers.
Has it ever mattered to us? That's never mattered to us. We don't care if you get a yellow. We're not going to attack you anyways. We seem to let you play a better game after that. We give you some space.
What did White do? Say some fucking curse words?
I don't know. I'm just.
What did he do?
Know. Both times there was some conflict. Both teams got a yellow. Cop out. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I thought that generally the referee had a good game. I'm not reaching here. We were soundly beaten 4-1. There's a couple of things that irritated me. The second one was Haaland leaning to one side with his arm by his side, not given as a penalty.
I don't know how that's not a handball. If he doesn't, I know his arms are by his hands, but if he doesn't move forward, he doesn't get that ball because
it's not like he was jumping out of the way to miss the ball and the ball hit him. And
he moved right into the thing.
He's leaning into it.
He leaned into the ball.
He wants to maneuver the ball out of danger using his arm.
It hits his arm.
Yeah.
Because if you score a goal that way, I bet you they'd say nope, you can't do that, right? So because basically what they're saying is you can hand a ball into the goal. You just have it by your side and you'll be okay.
The announcers said that was a stone cold penalty, especially after they seen a replay of him just dipping a shoulder into a ball. I mean,
too much.
Is that a VAR thing or no?
VAR looked at it.
VAR looked at it, but they look at them very quickly for Arsenal. I'm not really a conspiracy.
They get like
guy,
1 second to check and see if it's something they need to go back and look
at. All of them were real fast yesterday. All of them were super fast yesterday. They're all within 30 seconds.
The offsides was great. How you look at one angle and you're like, he's well offside, and then for some reason you turn the angle the other way. Damn, it looks pretty close, and it's like.
Do you accept? So
the viewer seems to get better replays and slow down replays than the VAR people do. Because we were watching it and going, yeah, that's a penalty.
The other thing that bothered me as well, his foot is there playing him onside, but Akanji, I think, is pushing Ben White forward.
So it's a foul in the attack, and it doesn't get called either. So. But you know what? They don't call it anymore, remember? Because they've already said, you know what? Martinelli's foul shouldn't have happened. So
we need to be more clever. We need to go down in those situations and have a case for a free out there rather than, a goal.
If he goes down, he'd probably call him for like a foul in the box, and he
just before halftime
gets a red card or something.
Saka started that, and Saka started getting yellow cards and stuff for falling down when he's getting.
Sicko Vibe said, City go for the kill. Arsenal think they have already won. The game is won on the final whistle. And I think, Stan, the game is won in the duels. And Man City were winning all of the duels. And Man City seem to have mates who are going to back them up as well in these individual scuffles.
There's an old phrase that's used a lot in football, and I'm going to use it now. Arsenal didn't lay a glove on any of the Man City players. We weren't in that game at all. It's one of the worst games I've seen us play this season. We were nowhere near the required level to get anything out of that game from the first whistle. We had a little
Mhm.
spell in there towards the end of the second half where we kind of looked like we were getting a little bit into the game, but that was far too little too late. It was a bad performance. Terrible performance.
Yeah. BX says it here. Feels like he's being kicked in the balls every week watching Arsenal, especially this past few weeks. It's been a little bit tough to take, actually, not being able to see us get over the line in a couple of these games, you know.
Do you know what it was? It reminded me of, back in the Invincible days and seasons before that, when we used to be able to win games in the tunnel sometimes. I think that's what happened with, the game was gone probably in the tunnel. We were nowhere near where we needed to be for that game. Nowhere near. And it could have been 6 or 7.
Yeah, let's talk about that. It could have been 6 or 7, but for Aaron Ramsdale, I thought he played really well. The first goal notwithstanding, which he should have saved, apparently. Tony.
Why are you doing that? Right? Why are you doing that?
I just wanted to get.
I got like no friends on this show.
Notwithstanding. I had to get the notwithstanding in there. You know what I mean?
I know. I didn't like it though because the build-up says all Tony, and all of a sudden you put a little dot at the end. Here's a little bit for Gary. Nah, didn't like it.
What for you? What did I leave for you?
Notwithstanding.
You don't like that phrase?
No, I don't like. I don't like. Is that Stan's phrase? No, I don't like it.
It's got Stan in it.
Now I know that I'm going to use it a lot more.
Notwithstanding, in the middle of it, you got Stan. It's easy.
I think we all like that catchphrase, Gary notwithstanding.
I don't like it. No, I don't. No, I don't. I hate it. I hate it.
Things Gary hates are things Phil hates.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Like I said, I got no friends, man. God.
We love you, Gary.
My team gets destroyed on the field, and all my friends are just like dumping on, beat me up, man.
Sometimes I deliberately don't say teabag just for you, Gary.
Thank you. I actually heard Stan say his name multiple times on the show.
Yeah, I guess because I deliberately say it just for you.
Right. In the back of your mind, are you secretly thinking about a Peloton seat? Your favorite gift. Your favorite gift.
You must have one of those seats because you keep bringing it up.
That's all you.
You still have to watch that movie, right?
Yeah. No,
Man City. So
Arsenal
Gary, we love you, Gary. Despite what you might think, we love you.
Yeah. No, you're right. No, Ramsdale. I think outside of probably that pass to start the Southampton game, he's been pretty good this entire stretch.
Yeah.
These 4 games that we've been struggling, like as far as the most consistent player. Because he has stood up multiple times and made saves for us to keep a point against Liverpool. I think even Southampton, he did a good job there. And as you say, it could have been. I mean, Haaland could have had a hat trick by halftime easily.
Yeah.
I mean, easily he
He
could
didn't
have
have
had a
his
hat
hair
trick.
down yet. He put his hair down.
He put his hair down because the game's over. He's getting ready to do he's like going. He's getting ready to go to the shower, so he's getting prepped.
He's sponsored by Head and Shoulders, so he has to let
Did
it
you
out.
see him? Did you see him in his tidy whities?
What was that all about?
Yeah,
with one of the Gallaghers, or maybe both of the Gallaghers, I don't know. But that was strange choice of clothing.
Yeah, that was a little bit.
I did not see that. I do not want to see it.
Yes, you don't want to. It's not. Yeah, I don't want to see it.
Not recommended viewing.
I mean, think about the 2 saves that he made in that game, right? One on Haaland when he was breaking through, one on Kevin De Bruyne when he was breaking through. Like how many times was it? Like, and that's what those type of scenarios is what Ramsdale was living, right? When he got relegated twice. That's what it looked like. If you look at the videos of those games, it was him and an attacker, and you're like, where's the defense? That's exactly what it looked like.
They were out for tea, out for coffee. Ramsdale was really, really good. He ships 4 goals, but I thought he played really, really good. Kept us in the game up until close to halftime, and then that offside decision really did kill us. We go in 1-0 at halftime. It doesn't look like Arteta was going to change anything anyway until 60 minutes. But we go in 1-0, we would have maybe come out with a more renewed effort. 53 minutes, Ødegaard loses the ball in midfield. Partey can't. He's gassed. Partey's gassed in 53 minutes. He looks slow and tired. And maybe it is Ramadan taking an effect on his body, Stan.
The first goal, he should have. That's when like the light bulb should have went on for Arteta. I don't think this guy's going to make it if within 20 minutes of the game he's getting run by like that.
My wife collects Cabbage Patch dolls.
Which one though? Is it the one with like the bloody eye and like the bandages and stuff, or which one is it?
I don't know.
And like the wooden leg and all that on the crutches, or is that what the other guy looks like?
This is gonna ruin my credibility. But my wife collects these Cabbage Patch dolls.
The fact that you have that next to you while you're doing a show. That's yours. It's all right, Ray. You can say it's yours.
Told you it would ruin.
Do you wake up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet and they're just like staring at you?
I mean, I have all kinds of props. But
do you have a Cabbage Patch Kid doll by your TV screen while you're doing a show in Arsenal?
I do all kinds of props, right?
You have a Cabbage Patch Kid right now. Show me.
I have all kinds of props. Hey, remember, I like you. Remember?
Yeah, I
remember. Where's the love for Ray now?
That cabbage, you should have shown me the Cabbage Patch Kid. I'm sorry. That's no.
Stan,
that's unacceptable.
I used to like the garbage. Remember the Garbage Pail Kids, the cars.
That's what I was talking about.
That's the one with the bloody eyes and all that, with the bloodshot eyes and all that.
Now, Stan. They have pop.
The Arsenal misfit talking about the only game that's worse than this is probably Everton.
Was Everton, yeah, and that was a poor performance as well.
But then we went to Everton a few weeks later. I mean, we put it right, didn't we? That's what I like.
No, but you can't lose to them at all in this season, right? You can't struggle against Bournemouth. You can't struggle against Southampton.
There's a lot.
We still got a point out of it, though.
We didn't beat Southampton this year, right?
Out of it.
No, we didn't beat Southampton.
We didn't beat Southampton this year. That's 4 points right there.
Yeah. Listen, I told Tony Southampton and City, same as last season, ruined my season last year. Man United,
Southampton and their curse many times on this broadcast. Yeah. I remember saying they're like a jack in the box side.
Yeah.
They'll get beaten 6-7-0 one week, and then the following week they'll play another team that you think that will beat them. They win.
They didn't give me any fucking points.
This is just like that Burnley team, right? We couldn't beat Burnley. And next season they're relegated. And you're like, what the world's going on,
Yeah.
Away to Man United, we've had poor results away to United. At Goodison Park, we've had poor results there. So those are two to fix up for next season. Every season we got some things to do. I talked about coaches. I talked about Arteta.
We got the same thing we need to do every year, right? We haven't done it for like 5 seasons. Fix the fucking midfield.
Tony's got the answers, Mikhail. Tony's got.
Supposedly we're going after Declan Rice, so that will improve it some, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? The problem is now that he's on our radar, he's been playing pretty well, so we can't afford him.
We'll see what happens. He won't turn up on July 1st. I can tell you that.
He should. He should be like packing his locker at the end of the season and just driving over because it's really close, right?
Yeah,
it's really close.
So drive over. I think wasn't it? Who was it that Liverpool bought a player? And was it who did they buy? They bought. I think it was in the midfield. They bought a player in the midfield. I can kind of see his name. No,
Gakpo.
No, in the midfield. A couple of seasons ago, but when they bought him and he weren't coming to the club for like 6 months. But they just made the deal early, got it all sorted out. Who was it?
Coutinho, not Coutinho, I think he was he was a Fulham player. They bought him. He was a Fulham
I can't remember his name. He's a
Carvalho.
No, it was another player that I'm thinking of. As soon as I hear his name, I remember. But the point is that it wasn't like they wanted that player and they just sat on it and waited for the window to open and then dragged their feet. They just went and got it done.
Yeah.
And I've always thought to myself, well, if you've identified a player You know, even though the transfer window doesn't open on a certain date, are you not allowed to go and get a deal done outside of that and make
You
negotiations?
can.
I mean, I'm just asking. I don't know because
No, but
Liverpool.
in,
What is
in
his
Cuckoo,
name?
in Cuckoo
I keep
for
wanting to say
Do you know what
Nketiah.
happened at
Deadpool
this time
be
last
done.
year, Stan?
Huh?
Thiago
happened
Alcantara.
What
No.
happened at this time last season? Man City went and got Holland for 60 million euros.
The
Before
man,
season was over.
here's how it should go. He finishes, he closes out his locker, pulls all his stuff out, goes, has a little speech with the West Ham, reporters, basically telling him it was a really good season. It wasn't really, the season didn't go as we planned, and and they ask him where are you going next. He's like, I don't know, and then he just gets in his car, he just drives over to London Colney, and then he goes, I'm home, and then boom, the summer begins. And then he goes on
Naby Ketia.
holiday. Then he goes
You're
on
making
holiday.
it too easy,
You
Gary.
got him?
Naby
Ndeka?
Ketia. That's what I
Oh,
meant.
Naby Keita. Okay,
Yeah.
Naby Keita.
We knew about that for ages. He was coming, and it was all done,
Yeah.
and that, and it was in the middle of the season, and I don't understand why. If you've got your eyes set on someone, maybe if to do a deal now would be cheaper than if you waited to the end of the season and he continues, a good run of form and his figures go up. I don't know, but I've always wondered why Arsenal never seem to do that, do they?
No, it's got to get better.
Every
This
other team
season-
does it, so it's not
And
like
we've got the
it's
money.
like
It's not like we're waiting for money to come in and we have to sell this guy. We know the money's there.
Do you
We've
know the
spent-
only
we've
one
spent
I
a
can
fraction
think
of what was available.
Do
Tony.
you know the only one I can think of that we did before the end of the season?
So on.
Granit Xhaka.
Okay. Granit Xhaka. Tony, new line in questioning. What do you dislike most about Man City?
Dislike about him?
There's lots of things, right?
There's plenty to hate about their ownership and things they do, but I think the whole thing started. It starts a long time for me. It's when they were using New York to loan their players to them, then loan them back.
Mm-hmm.
It's just little stuff like that.
What I really dislike about Man City is they have a world-class team and a world-class manager, but they moan and they complain to the referee about everything. And all of the players copy Pep
Man
Guardiola.
United used to do it. Man
For
United done it
moaning
when they were winning. When they were the
and complaining.
top of the
That
table.
happens in every sport, especially the NBA.
Do we do it enough?
You should see the NBA fucking those
Yeah,
guys.
but our players get booked. And we get fined for it. That's the difference.
as I tell Mr. Tom all the time, there's levels to this thing, and guess what? We are not at that level. We are not at that level.
So we don't get the ear.
No,
We don't get the ear of the referees when Grealish is getting. You got Grealish, you got Kevin De Bruyne, you got Bernardo Silva, which I think is the most. I don't like him a lot.
No, they can't hear us. They
the
cannot
worst.
hear us.
Rodri, Haaland, they all get around the referee and they complain when they don't get a decision, even though the decision made is correct.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I really.
we only get probably Gabriel's about the only one coming to the refs.
So, anything else we dislike about City? Because hopefully
Yes.
we're going to be growing this dislike for City.
My only problem with Man City are the allegations and the investigations, because if these things turn out to be true, it means that they've been playing with a stacked deck, and that's not fair to everybody else. And then there's too much to undo. Yeah, they can give out trophies to this team and that. Oh, you should have won. But what about teams that got relegated? Teams that got knocked out of competitions that shouldn't have. You can't undo all of that. You can't. It's just not going to happen. It's just too much to retroactively change, and it hurts me that the season that we're having, and that the team that's giving us the fallout and these discussions and people online saying get rid of the manager and get rid of this person and blah blah blah. We got undone. Yes, we didn't leave everything on the pitch. I've always said I can handle Arsenal losing matches if we've given 100% and left it on the pitch. We did not do that. We were scared, frightened, caught in headlights. We were like children, men against boys. But if these allegations are serious and it's all gone very quiet,
Mr. Bungle.
Mr. Bungle, but some of the resources that they've been able to field, which we've had to go up against, it looks like they shouldn't have had them in the first place. And that's just so unfair, and that's what I dislike about them, the allegations. And if they have done these things, I want them nailed to the wall for it. Big time. Relegated and whatever you can throw at them. Because it's just made it fair for everybody else. Teams that maybe should have got into the Champions League that didn't. You can't fix that retroactively.
Yeah.
Can you? The extra funds those teams get for qualifying into the Champions League, you can't fix any of that. And for if we want to be the best league in the world, which is what a lot of people say we are, there's a reputation that needs to be upheld. And when things go wrong, or if people try to cheat the system, then we need to be seen that, if we find you out, you'll be punished for it big time. That needs to be the message.
You really think we're going to do what Italy does? You already seen them 15 points. You seen when they were colluding.
Maybe, Tony, and I'll tell you why. Because the government wants to try and get in on the act and regulate football and be involved, whatever, which the FA doesn't want. So maybe they'll use this as a case to really, investigate thoroughly. And if they find anything, hand out really strong punishments. They can turn around to the government and say, we don't need to be regulated. Look, we clean up our own mess. We're really good at it. So maybe that's a help to make sure that if there is any wrongdoing, punishments are handed out. But that's what I hate about them. I don't hate them that they've got a better manager or better, or they play better than us. That's up to us to learn. But the unfair resources part of it, you know what I mean? Can't beat that.
You really think we're going to get dock points or get rid?
Nothing's going to happen to them. I don't think anything's going to happen to them, because guess what that means? That would mean that the Football Association screwed up because they let it happen for how many years? Right, we're talking about 10 years worth of them cheating the system, and that looks really bad on them. I mean, this is why This is why I feel like now I lost my train of thought there. This is why I feel like nothing's going to happen. Like I said, it's 10 years. They look bad, and then it's going to let it get on. We're going to push it under the rug and move on. That's what they're going to do.
As Stan has rightly said, the UK government have an oversight on the FA, the Premier League. So it is transparent,
Well, this is why, but this is also why I think all the teams in English football should be upset, because they're punishing teams in like the Championship and Second Division for breaking these rules that they're talking about that City has done for 10 years. Mm-hmm. They're punishing them right now, right? They're punishing teams for basically doing bad things with their money. But City for 10 years has been doing it, and like you said, it's gone really quiet. And why is that?
Hopefully, listen.
Right? Let me take you into the future. It's 4 years into it's 4 years into the future, and there's this young guy on the YTS scheme from school,
right,
and he's working in the mailroom at the Emirates, and this big box arrives, big parcel, and it says on it, "This way up," and he puts it in the corner, and he leaves it there for a couple of weeks and doesn't get around to opening it. And when he does open it, guess what's inside? It's the Premier League title from this season. Once everything's been sorted out, they go, put that in your cabinet. Do you know what I mean? I honestly think that, that as long as we finish second, we might get this one back. It's not going to be the same. But,
no, it just, like I said, it's one thing that the league is could potentially just do nothing, but it's also another thing that all the other teams in the league are just seem to be okay with it. I know that they're okay with it because they're getting money, at least the owners are. But the fans and the players are getting, like as you say, the fans and the players are losing out because they can't play those high stake games because they don't have enough money. They're not supposed to have that much money to play around and compete in that area, right?
Let me ask you
I mean,
something else, though. Right, going back to Arsenal. Do you think that there was so much? Yes, Mr. Bongle, that's the regular Tony, the one and only.
the
Do you
regular
think?
Tony.
Do you think that there was so much hype around this game leading up to it by everybody, and I think it did get to the players as well. But now that that game is finished, do you think it kind of might be like a weight lifted now, a bit of a reset, and we go on to being able to get back to winning ways because that one's now gone. I honestly do
I'm
think
gonna
that
be
Man,
here.
I think they were thinking of Man City before Southampton, Gary, for sure.
No, yeah, I believe that because, like I told you, the 4-game stretch is all where we played City in 3 of those 8 games, and we played poorly in a lot of those games. I definitely. I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be so happy, and I'm going to be pissed. We get a win against Chelsea. If I always say the only way I can tell if we've responded yet, or we get back to get back to our old ways, is if we beat them at least 3 goals. If we don't, then it's still in our head, because I don't believe Chelsea is any, like, right now, the way that they're playing. This is the same thing I said about Liverpool. The way that they're playing at this point in time, if we're playing anywhere near our form that we've been playing this season, we should be able to beat them, right? Once again, here's the same situation's coming up. If we're not all in our head, not all thinking about City and the response and how we played the last 4 games, and we go out there and just play some football, we should go out there and destroy them. We should go out there and destroy them. It shouldn't be close, right? Not the way we've been playing this season.
The way they're playing,
not with the numbers not with the players that we have. Yeah. I mean, these players should be pissed. Do any of us think they are pissed enough that, look, we're going to go out there, we're going to practice hard, Arteta's going to have a problem.
Yes.
He's not going to know, who do I start, because guess what? They're all playing hard in practice, right?
Or are they licking their wounds? Are they like, wow, we've been reading all this stuff about us all season and that, and now they're sort of like thinking to themselves, they're doubting themselves. Maybe I'm not as good as I thought.
Look, I don't think we get to 70.
At Chelsea, I'm really nervous, and I wish that we had another team to play now instead of Chelsea.
Weekend. Yeah,
because I just don't like it that we're playing a team where it's like, where for weeks the whole world has been going, Chelsea's in the mud, ha 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 ha, and taking the piss out of them, and then we face them and they get something out of it. Do you know what I mean? That's what I've seen us do that before. Teams are in the mud, they get a new manager or whatever, they can't put wins together. Arsenal come along, they get a win. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Man City have been exceptional, but make no mistake, we stumbled the last 4 games, right? But 29 games, 72 points is a great haul.
I'll take the Liverpool draw. I'll take that draw, I will take that Liverpool draw.
But we really have to win. We really have to win at West Ham. Unfortunately, Bukayo Saka misses a penalty. We've seen many players miss penalties in recent games. Nottingham Forest as well. And
seen Dennis Bergkamp.
So that's West Ham, and Ramsdale almost gets fingertips to that Bowen shot, and we don't show anything for 30 minutes against West Ham to win the game again, 3-2, and Southampton, we really, really overlooked Southampton, and there's something
that back post headed goal for me was one of the worst ones, because you see, if you watch that again, you see Zinchenko look at the man. He sees him there. He sees him there, and he looks away. And then he just runs around him and hits it in the back post.
Yeah.
And this again, is the same that's pulling everyone together and giving it like, oh, we must do this, we must do that. I'm not. Can I just put it on record? I am not buying what Zinchenko is trying to sell me. I'm not buying it. I don't buy it. Right. I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the other part to that.
That inverted fullback.
He is not. You said it already, though.
I'm not buying it.
What's the one thing that he's supposed to be able to do based on the position he plays on the pitch? And what can't he do well?
Be creative.
He can't defend.
He can't defend.
He can't do his job. So why are we surprised when he doesn't do his job?
It's.
I mean,
I honestly feel right. Listen, I honestly feel that Zinchenko reminds me of Tavares in a way. Arsenal fans have this big, maybe all fans do it, and I'm not plugged into other fan bases, but
Is this going to
we
come back
buy
on
these
me now?
players, right? And they become shiny new toys. They become better than what we had because they're new. We forget the service that player's put in. Kieran Tierney and to the Tavares thing. I know, right? I'm not digging you out, right? But there were so many people that were like, start Tavares for fucking ever.
That was
And I'm
me.
like- and I'm
I'll
like,
admit it.
and it was like 5 minutes before that, everyone was going, Kieran Tierney has to be our next captain. I mean, it's the only choice. That's the only one that's out there. And now it's like, don't even start the fucker.
Yeah.
And I think
Poor Kieran.
I think Zinchenko, has been victim a little bit of that. And there was somebody that I remember seeing a post on Twitter recently, and they posted, "I'm so glad our passion man." They described a picture of Zinchenko with his face screwed up. "I'm so glad our passion man is back." Passion man, and I'm like, I thought we signed a defender. Don't want a passion man. Isn't the Gunnosaurus our passion man? He does all that running around and getting. He's a defender first and foremost, and he's not doing that for me. I love his intent. I love his willingness to try. It looks like he's on board with everything, but maybe there's a reason why Pep was like, "Yeah, you can have him."
You know, we're in trouble. Guess what? If Pochettino gets hired this weekend, and new manager
At
bounce,
Chelsea.
new
Yeah.
manager,
Fuck.
he'll be sitting in the
Oh,
stands.
bloody hell!
You know, he'll be sitting in the box. All right, he'll be sitting in the box next to Todd Bowley, watching the game. Talking about if any
Is
team
he going to be
needed
in
a new
charge this
manager
weekend?
bounce.
Is he in charge this weekend? Is that
Well,
what's happening?
that's what people. Well, he's definitely in like they're in I believe final discussion.
Do Chelsea have a game this weekend, Gary?
No. They play us on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. Okay.
But
Yeah.
I mean, if he gets hired this weekend,
Then he takes the team on Tuesday.
well, I know. I think it's
In the
like one
Emirates.
of those things where he'll just be in the stands.
I don't know.
Just
I don't know, but that would be enough
like,
time.
It'll be just like when
Look.
we played Everton and Ancelotti and Arteta had been hired, but they couldn't coach that game.
We need to rubber stamp the fact that we're better than Chelsea by 20
Been
points.
better than like most every team we've dropped points to, except for City. We've been better than. Not one of them are like better than us.
Here's what we need to do then. We play at home against Chelsea and we turn it around and win that game. We turn the narrative back. We win the game. Then we go to Newcastle and we have a statement game.
Yeah.
And we better not fold. We better not fold like Tottenham did last weekend at Newcastle.
Or like we did last year.
Or like we did last year.
That's our worst game I've ever seen.
We win, Tony. I'm coming after you if you win. I know you'll be happy as well.
If the season plays out the way the last one did, we failed in 5 games. So we've done 4 already.
This is
based on the way
I have
we ended it last time.
I have a question.
This is another test, Gary. We need to do this in 5 games, 5 wins.
No, I said that earlier, right? It's got to be 15 out of 15.
Yep, you did.
I have a question.
Tony, go.
Orange.
What if we only win 2 of the final 5?
That's
not
terrible.
good enough.
That's really bad.
Then we sort of drop. We fail. We drop.
Do you go manager shopping then?
No, he's on thin ice. He's gonna have to show why we keep him for me. Because it's not. He has to.
How long do you wait for that, Gary? How long do you give him? The summer and into the fall.
Give him a summer. Maybe he is gone at the end of the season because you're like, well, damn, Arteta. If that's what Tony's saying, I don't think he should be gone. I just think he's just like if I'm like the owner of the team, I'm looking at, well, he's gotten this far, so we're not going to make a rash judgment here. But next season, it might be tougher to do anything. But he's going to have to show, like for me, he's going to have to show better management skills, right? We shouldn't still be going, well, this game's getting away from us. Let's not bring in our playing style and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That should improve.
We didn't do anything. So we were 3-0 down. We didn't do anything yesterday.
He just and you know what? Here's what I said. I said this to I talked to Sam because I think he had just talked to Tony. I think before I talked to him. I think
Yes.
yesterday,
He
right?
was-
So I
he-
talked to him
he
after
called,
you, and
he called while I was talking to him.
yeah, so I was talking to him. I said, you know, it's halftime, right? Trossard should come in at halftime, but guess what's going to happen? Trossard is going to come in after they scored the third goal.
Mhm.
When did Trossard come in?
I don't like when you're right about these
After
things.
the third goal, and I'm like, what are you doing? You
Mhm.
need to. The only way you're going to get back in this game is if you score 2 goals at least, right? Nothing is working. Nothing's
You're
going
2-0
to work.
down.
This is the fourth game in a row. You go into halftime and you don't make a change, right? It's the best time to bring on Trossard. Wherever you decide to put him, I think you should have brought him in for Xhaka. It wasn't everybody was poor, so you could have subbed anybody out. But I think if you've taken Xhaka out, at least I'd rather have lost 6-2 or 6-3 because at least we had something going
Like United.
than sitting
Yeah.
back just getting punished and beat up the whole.
Have a hot take for you,
We're
right?
stuck in the
One
corner,
second,
and
Tony.
the man's just hitting us in the gut the entire time. We're taking it.
You know, Gary, I'm quite positive. I like Arteta and what he's doing, but I agree with you. You go in 2-0 at halftime, you've got to make substitutions at halftime to come back out. You actually should have done it before the second goal because you could see what was happening. Jose Mourinho would take 2 players off after 30 minutes if they weren't doing it. A couple of comments here, and then I'll get to you, Tony. Stephen said, if the FA pushes this under the rug, there will be hell to pay. Reading was docked 6 points this season for financial reasons. Then there is every other club that was cheated over the years.
They have like over 100, right? Or 100.
130, I think, is
130. If they've messed up once, that should be at least what, 10 points, probably, right?
Should be a lot more. If you accumulate all these, we will bounce back against Chelsea. I believe that. Chelsea have been terrible. We have to bounce back.
Southampton is the worst team in the league, and we haven't gotten a win against. We got 2 points against them.
I think it's back to focus again. Focus, as Mr. Bungle said. I reckon Arsenal focus has dropped from now on. The focus has to come back. Rob Holding is about as useful as an ashtray on a motorbike.
I was listening to somebody talk about that, and it's not Rob Holding.
No,
it isn't.
I agree with you. It's not.
He. We know what he is, and Arteta knows what he is. But if he's going to play him, the rest of the team either has to pick up the slack, or Arteta has to make sure the way that they play doesn't punish the squad. You know what I mean? Like something's got to happen. Like somebody's either like think about it. Somebody's got to do something different because you just can't. We don't have plug and play. Holding, Saliba, not equal. They're not equal, right? So basically, something has to change. Either the way we play, right, or the way we play in a sense of formation or whatever, or players have to pick up the slack. And I told you, right, what I'd say. I said, Gabriel Margulies cannot overthink this, cannot do more than he's supposed to do, cannot take risks. And that's exactly what he's done. He's taken risks, and he's put his team in precarious situations. And
he's missed the calmness of Saliba.
Speaking of Rob Holding, can I ask, why was everybody that I saw, on Twitter and so forth, why were they so up in arms about the wink from Rob Holding after he scored his goal? Why did that infuriate so many people?
Punished, you're getting beat up, you're getting punked. You should be pissed. What's the wink for? I get it, but you're getting Stan. If your team is getting destroyed on the pitch, are you happy just because you scored a goal to make it look presentable?
He set them on the way.
Do you even have the mindset at that time? You know what? I'm going to wink here. That's the mentality that we talked about, right?
If I was for me, I'm looking at Rob Holding. I'm just thinking, this is a guy that, for the last few games, apparently we can't win games because everything is Rob Holding's fault. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing, but all of Arsenal woes are down because one player is out in William Saliba, and we've got to wheel out the paraplegic old age pensioner, mobility scooter, Rob Holding. Yet I find it ironic that Rob Holding was the only one that was able to put the ball in the back of the net. I just
Did
find
I-
that
did I
very.
do
I
that?
just find that ironic. Do you know what I mean? For
Yeah.
me,
I thought
Yeah.
I mumbled that, but I didn't think I swore. What did I say? I don't think I said.
Stefan will tell you.
Uh-oh.
Stan,
you said
continue.
flipping. Flipping.
The
I
red
didn't-
mist. The red mist came down on
I didn't
Gary.
think I said anything. I've been pretty good about this. I did it once this season. That's how bad.
Yeah, look, if you are
Good goal as well.
predisposed, I think the only
Good goal.
thing, Stan, if you're
Righteous goal.
predisposed against Holding and you think he shouldn't be in the Arsenal squad and you think he shouldn't be playing for the Arsenal, which, you know, a lot of people do, you're going to see Rob Holding wink and be completely triggered about that. And let's realize it took 2 injuries here for Rob Holding to start these games. Tomiyasu and Saliba.
He kept the score somewhat respectable.
Yeah.
You know.
Let me ask you this.
I think that just shows a little bit of, we talk about naivety and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
but
if you're a seasoned veteran and you're doing that, well, you're not showing. You're showing up for what the wrong. Come on, we can't. You're getting destroyed on the pitch. Come
maybe
on.
this is something that was worked out on a training ground.
Exactly did
And
this.
the person that got the ball to him, he was like giving him a wink, like, yeah, it worked out. But
You know what, Stan? No. You don't believe that. Come on, man.
Gary, if Martinelli had
was
done
he winking at
that,
everyone that
would
said he
you
was
be
shit?
annoyed if Martinelli did that?
Yes, because look at. Did you see the game?
Okay.
Did you
I
see the
saw
game?
I saw
Not
the
one of
game.
those players should have been happy about anything, unless that was the tie-in score.
Yeah. Okay.
At
fair
that
enough.
point in the game, you're getting destroyed. You need
I would've been
that's
happy.
one goal. Let's go get another one. Right?
I would have been happy.
That's how you're
I'd be like,
feeling.
everyone's saying I'm like really
Stan,
shit.
you know what?
I just scored against
No.
Man City.
You can't.
We should have had a penalty. Haaland leaning in should have been a penalty. Rob Holding scoring that goal should have been. It's 70. When did he score? 87 minute. Okay, we have 5 or 6 minutes to get an equalizer. Then, you know what I mean. And look, I'm clutching at straws. We were beaten by the better team. Tony, you've been holding on to a point. Do you still have it on the tip of your tongue?
I have a hot take and I have an answer for Gary. You either go with 3 center backs, or you tell your fucking fullbacks not to attack. Even though we don't have any fullbacks, we got a center back that's playing as a fullback. Only fullback we have is on the bench.
Like I said, we have to do something different. Either the way we play formation, or somebody has to pick up the slack.
Are you ready for
the teams that beat City this season? They beat them by the way that they played. They sat back. They allowed City to come onto them, and then they hit them on the break. Mikel Arteta decided that he was going to play that game that he likes to play. He wasn't going to do that, and same formation. It was we went for the same formation as they did, and they were better than us. It's as simple as that. It
didn't work against Southampton. How in the world is it going to work against City? Come on, Stan. It didn't work against. We gave up 3 goals against Southampton.
Man United can do it.
How in the world are we going to beat City?
Tottenham beat them on the counter playing.
No, you're talking about games You're talking about games. What, like 3, 4, 5 months ago? Come on, that's not the same. They're not playing the same way they were playing 3 or 4 or 5 months ago.
Like
the
4
months ago.
The way that
they're playing now, you can't tell me you weren't looking at reform coming into this game and went, all right, it's going to work the same way it did like 5 months ago.
Don't play that way.
And
that's maybe to his detriment that he doesn't. Look at Newcastle, the way that Newcastle played, but when we played them, they played a completely different way. Completely different way to what they've been playing. They threw up their book for their playbook for how they've been playing that season, and they chose a special way of playing against us, and it worked for them. We didn't do that. Perhaps we should have.
Yeah,
in hindsight.
City have come up against Brentford. They've come up against Man United. They come up against Tottenham. They came up against Liverpool, and all those teams have beaten them by playing somewhat counter-attacking football. If you remember, the Salah goal came from a mistake, a Cancelo mistake, I think it was. Ivan Toney gave them fits for that 2-1 defeat. And yeah, it was kind of an offside goal. I think when Fernandes, there was some kind of a interruption where they were leaving the ball for the Man United win. And that team beat them as well. So
They
we
haven't
can do
lost
it.
since February the 12th.
Yeah, they haven't lost.
So almost 2.5 months they haven't lost.
So
like you
that's
said,
going to leave me.
So if you're not, wait, you can't just say they lost to that team, they lost to United, they lost to Southampton, and not look at the fact that for like 2.5 months they haven't lost a match. They've drawn 3, and not take that into account. That guess what?
14.
What
Yeah.
that team did in February is not that they weren't playing the same team.
But maybe if more teams had looked at the ones that had been successful against them and maybe say, well, let's try a little bit of that, they might have got something more out of.
So
out
it's
of.
Arteta,
Maybe that's
right?
the
Because it's not the
weakness. I'm just
players,
saying,
right?
We're
So
trying
it's
to find a
Arteta.
weakness in this team.
So it's Arteta, right?
Well, yeah.
So it's Arteta.
He's the
So
one that put the
Arteta is the
formation
reason why
together.
he didn't give us a chance. Because the only way to beat them is to play a totally different style than what he's going to do.
I wouldn't say it's the only way to beat them.
You just said you just said look at what the other teams did. None of those
Yeah,
other
I'm trying to.
we're going to go forward and back and just play it straight up.
Gary, I gave you my team on Sunday, and it included a double pivot and playing 3 at the back. You know what I mean?
But I mean, you're
With
playing a little
Trossard
bit more defensive, a
team.
little bit more
Am
control in the middle, right?
Am I as disappointed as you that Trossard didn't start the game? Yes.
I think everybody in the world is a little upset.
Did you steal my back 3, Ray? You finally stole
Yes.
my idea.
You weren't here on Sunday, right? You weren't
Nope.
here on Sunday. Did you have difficulties on Sunday? I hope
I've had difficulties all fucking week.
Doesn't it have been longer than that?
I think Aaron Ramsdale had difficulties in yesterday's game. It wasn't fun for us watching it. I didn't enjoy a 4-1 defeat. But for me, he gets the Don Juan man of the match. Stan, you agree?
I mean, Aaron Ramsdale, I mean, his defense, he was overworked because his defense didn't help him.
Yeah.
He was having to pull saves out of the bag. And, okay, we lost 4-1, but it could have been a lot worse.
Gary, man of the match.
It's terrible. That's the only person that gets it, right? Only play. I mean, what's crazy is did he get the best score? Nope. Rob Holding got the best score in the best ranking on this one because he scores a goal. Yeah, and he winked.
Irony. That's the irony, man. I love
that. Was the wink. That was the wink. I'm getting.
Rams had 5 saves, and like at least 4 of those saves.
I like
4 of those, And
you know why Rob Holding winked? You know why Rob Holding winked? Because he has himself on his own fantasy football team.
7 point what? What was the score,
like,
Gary?
Double points for me.
What was the,
all right.
It was 7.0 for on Sofa score. It was 7.0 for Rob Holding, a 6.8 for Ramsdale.
Tony, you giving it to Aaron Ramsdale?
I think him and Ben White were only.
Ben White as well. Yeah.
Ben White was the worst player on this ranking.
Well, he blocked a certain goal, and he was pretty instrumental in stopping a few things at the back.
How did he give a worst?
I'm just saying what this ranking has here. He's the worst player for Arsenal.
What do they have him at? Like 5'2"?
5'7".
He's pretty tall.
Gabriel Margulies was at a 5.9.
Yeah. Okay. That brings us to something that we were just talking about.
I had a hot take that I haven't said yet.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
What is it?
Poor Tony's been cut out a few times. Go ahead, Tony.
You know how we have these happy.
You've come a long way, though, Tony. I will have to say that to you.
We've had these happy accidents. These players that get hurt or the manager shit can somebody and things change. But would we be better off? Would we won the title if Jesus had a season-ending injury instead of just 3 months?
Yeah,
based on the fact that Trossard had been playing in those 3 games.
Yep. I agree with that. Plus, look back to Fulham. We played really well against Fulham with Martinelli through the middle, Trossard down the left, and Trossard gets 3
You won
assists.
7 Premier League games with Trossard starting.
Yeah. And this ties in a little bit to Mikel Arteta.
We'll never
How
know.
can we
say
We'll never
Jesus?
know.
Jesus kills Arsenal.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I generally agree with that hot
You
take.
should gotta. Sometimes you have to, as they say, strike the iron while it's hot. You got a good thing. You're on a good run, and
Yeah.
one of your players is having a really good run in that situation.
Hmm.
Just run with it and see how long it goes. Right. I don't think there's anything that Trossard was doing, for at least for me, that meant he should sit. But I understood. I even said, if I was the lineup going into Liverpool, I actually had him sitting. But I also when we need to bring him in. He needs to get decent minutes. If we're gonna not start him, then he needs to get at least 30 minutes.
Hmm.
And he didn't do that. Didn't do that at all. Even when he needed to come in at halftime, probably in the is either the West Ham or the Southampton game, and he didn't. And definitely would have been probably good to see that in the Liverpool. So that's why I always think he should just start at some point, because Arteta's plan works for 75 to 80 minutes, and then he'll decide whether or not to make a change.
Yeah, it's got to be a change, the way to go for him to learn again. Stan, what do you think of Tony's hot take?
I can see where it's coming from, but I just think that Gabriel Jesus is Mikel Arteta's man.
Yeah, isn't that part of the problem, though?
He's going to pick him. He's going to start against Chelsea. I'm not saying that Trossard might not be somewhere else in the team, but Gabriel Jesus will start.
Is that part of the problem, though? You got players, certain 3 or 4 players that always find the team sheet under Mikel Arteta. I'm thinking Zinchenko, Xhaka, and maybe Gabriel Jesus.
And Rob
Surely 4 games should be saying to you, okay, it's been 4 games now, and I need to try something different.
Why are you
What is it?
Ray?
What is it that makes you think that the 5th game will be any better?
What made he did it in 3 straight? He could have done it after the first game, after the second game, after the third game.
I know, but this is what I'm saying.
4 is the magic number.
I mean, but I'm just saying, I'm looking at the Chelsea game. I'm saying that's the next time that he can pick a lineup. What I'm saying is, surely he would now look back and say, well, something needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
Looking over those last 4 results, I don't see how he thinks he's going to get anything different by choosing the same lineup.
The man's done it 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
He obviously thinks he's going to get something different. I will be happy if he makes a change, and I will not be surprised if he doesn't.
And
You know
what's
I don't think there'll be much change.
What's the saying? Fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times.
Fool me 4 times. All right.
You know what's
No, it
criminal-
doesn't go that
I
far.
don't think there'll
Do you
be
know what's
many
criminal
surprises.
about
There's
it,
not
though,
going
Ray?
to be any surprises. I don't see it.
Yeah, but
You're not going to go, oh, look, there's Zinchenko in the Xhaka role, or there's, you know what I mean? There's
all the
Gabriel's
if he
on the
learned
bench.
anything from we talked about this. Why do we talk about this all the time? We talk about all these players, and we talk about how versatile they are, how they can play all these different positions on the pitch. Arteta wants players who can be versatile and can play this position and that position. And then when it's time to do that, we go, no. We shouldn't be switching them out, because guess what? We haven't done it all year. But we boast and we look at all the players he brings in, and we talk about how they can play in multiple positions, and then we don't do it. Because why?
Trossard has, to be fair.
No. But
he's played in 3 positions at least, hasn't he? He played on the
yeah,
right.
he can't get a start, and all he's done is give us 7. He won Player of March, and he can't play. He can't get a start for us.
He won Player of the Arsenal Player of the Month for March.
And man hasn't played since.
Since Leeds on April 1st. He didn't really get into the starting lineup. And Stan, I know you love Trossard.
I just think that when you look at all the positions
he can bring, right?
I just think that when you look at all the positions that Trossard can play in, and I try and put myself into the head of Mikel Arteta, I think that he can find an argument why the other person needs to start ahead of Trossard.
The man started in 7 matches. You won all 7 of them, and
I
all of a
know.
sudden you're
I'm
telling me
saying in his
you're telling me
mind,
there
he can find an argument.
there's an
And he's
equation out there
probably
that says,
looking at
guess what?
goals
He
and
won't do it 8
assists.
times.
I'm just
That's
saying.
what you're
I'm just saying
saying.
that I'm not saying that
Yeah.
I can.
No, but
I'm
no,
saying
no,
that
but, yeah,
he
but
can.
No, look,
you're trying to back up the fact. You're trying to back up your man, Arteta, and it doesn't make
he's
any
not.
I'm not.
sense.
Who
He's
said
not.
that?
No, no,
I
you
just
said
said
there's a segment.
Say,
No, you're saying there's something in there that means he's gonna sit Trossard and get a different result.
no,
Get
there's
the
a
same
I'm just
difference,
telling
result.
you what I
Gary.
think he will do. It's not
Yeah,
what I
there's a
want to
difference
do.
between that,
It's
Gary.
not what I want
And
to do.
everyone hears us, me and Stan saying, but there is a difference
I
between
said very
us
earlier
saying what
on.
what we think
I was up
Arteta
for
will
change.
do.
So
We're saying what we think Arteta
I
will
don't
do.
think the manager will do that. He will
It's
field an almost identical 11 to what you've already seen. That's what I think he will do. It's not what I would do.
exactly.
He's,
But when
he's, a,
when
he's an
you say
idiot if he
that,
does that.
and I get caught out doing this as well, because I will tell you what I think Arteta will do. Doesn't mean I believe you should do it, because
No.
I know Stan loves Trossard. We've been talking about Trossard coming in January, and we finally have him here, and he's playing at a level that we feel is much better than we've seen at Brighton. But he needs to push his way into the lineup, and Arteta needs to get him into the lineup. I don't care where, I don't care how. If it's Tony, I'm coming to you. If it's Xhaka's spot or if it's Jesus' spot, but these are the two players that don't seem to move in Arteta's lineup: Jesus and Xhaka. Tony.
Arteta, he's from the school of total football. This week's Ted Lasso, total football. It shows Pep Guardiola, and the game what's funny about it, the game that Ted Lasso decides to break out with total football is against Arsenal, and they lose 5-1 using it. But how is Trossard, that can play 5 positions, not a pet of Arteta? I mean, it should be a linchpin.
Yeah.
He should be starting every match, but
yeah.
Maybe that being able to play in a variety of positions. I mean, to me, it seems like a benefit, but maybe it's to his detriment.
Yeah.
That he can play in so many places and he's not a master of one.
He's doing to him. I hate what he's doing to Trossard.
He's so clinical. He's the most clinical player we got.
What player is looking at that situation going, guess what? I want to go to Arsenal. Because we were always saying we go in the Champions League, we're gonna be able to bring in these players, and they're looking at Trossard and all he's done and go, you know what? When they needed him most, they didn't even go to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go to this squad. Like, we can't talk. Like, if we're talking about depth and all that kind of stuff, we need depth. We don't even use it. So what's the point, right? We need depth. We're watching our team get destroyed because we don't have depth, and we're not even using the depth we do have, right? Georgina and Trossard needed to probably get more minutes in the last 4 games, based on the way we were playing, and based on the fact that they are the best. They are the best players we have. They are the best players we have on the bench who can actually start for us, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Maybe Rhys Nelson, but otherwise, really only have Trossard and Georgina.
Kieran Tierney, maybe. Emile Smith-Rowe.
Well, Emile Smith-Rowe's not based on the way he's been being used. He's not going to be a starter, but Trossard and Georgina should be 2 players we bring on to close out games or to switch things up a little bit, because because they can start for us. Like Georgina started in the City match, and I think he did all right.
Mm-hmm.
Right, he did all right in that game.
And I think we are
forgetting
about Rhys Nelson as well a lot. I think we're forgetting about Rhys Nelson. He's popped in and done some good things. Any final thoughts, not on the podcast, but Stan, on the game itself? So I want to maybe pivot just slightly away from the game itself.
Not really. I think I've said everything of how I feel about the game. You know, it would have been nice to have been able to have put down a marker, but we weren't able to. So, if you're trying to use that one game in isolation as a gauge, then we're miles away from Man City at the moment. That's what
Yeah.
I would say.
Just use the 4 games in a row then, and that's the same answer.
Yeah.
Well, then I would say, looking at the 4 games, we're a little way off of maybe winning the league.
Yeah.
Because
There are ways where
No, but
we
we didn't get the job
would have had
done
more
in
points.
one of them.
We should
Yeah.
have been able to lose to Man City and still be like 6 points clear.
Exactly.
But those
And
4 games showed you that we're still miles away. You needed to get a win in 1 of 3 games to at least give yourself an
We could have
opportunity.
been 9
Right.
points clear. We could have been 9 points clear,
I
maybe
mean,
going into City
You know,
games.
I always go back to the
Ridiculous.
Everton and the Brentford because you loved that game.
we're gonna go and
Those
lick our
are
wounds.
5 points right there. 5
We'll
points.
probably have a podcast where we're gonna lick our wounds and look back at where we should have been better, what happened, where it happened. But I think a severe lack of maturity in this squad in terms of the highest level. Last year we were fighting Tottenham.
But
This
that's
year,
what we
When
were.
you say
That's what
squad,
we
you
were
mean the
touting,
manager as
Ray.
well, right?
yes.
Okay.
We were
There's many
touting our-
instances in this podcast I have said Arteta
No, I was
needed
just
to do
asking
better.
what that meant. I was
Right.
just
Yeah.
asking what that meant.
But we were touting our fight back. Anytime anybody would score, we'd go right back out there and score.
That's
We
the
only
quality.
saw it once, and guess who was on the field when it happened?
We saw it a few times.
We
No,
saw
in
it
the
all-
last 4
the whole
games.
fir-
Last 4
We
games, you only
saw
saw
the
it
whole
once.
first
Oh,
half
okay.
of the season.
Yeah.
In the last
Trossard
4
won.
games, you only saw
Yeah.
it once.
Trossard, and he
So
nearly
we
won the
basically
game.
like how is it that in that game he decided, guess what? Screw it. I'm just going to put in all of my attackers, let them stop them.
We're all on the Trossard train here. There's nobody that dislikes Trossard. Yeah, listen, I think we lacked maturity in the last few games. The league is about 38 games. We only play City twice, and we should have been more consistent against the other teams. We have raised our levels. We can see it. We've raised our levels from fighting with Tottenham to now fighting with City. And if we get another 15 points, we're going to be about 20 points better off this season. We get a few players in over the summer. Edu, it's up to you, Edu. Go and do the business in the summer. Get those players in. We could be another 5 or 6 points better again next season. And then we're fighting with City. And we're going to go a little bit into what happens next season. But for right now,
How does that happen, Ray?
Tony, you're
really?
holding it up. Let's go quick. How does what happen?
How are we getting more points next season?
How do we do that?
You have Newcastle with a finish in the
Right.
Champions
That
League
rolls
spot.
into this. That rolls into this. What you need is 5 or 6 teams competing for the league, not just Arsenal and City. Don't you want a more competitive Premier League?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying how are we to gain 6 points when it's to be more competitive?
We get a couple of really good midfielders that are able to stop transition attacks.
No,
We can
I'll
see
tell you how you
United,
do it. No,
United,
need less
Newcastle,
goals.
I tell you,
Can
do it,
score
Tony.
more
United,
goals.
No
Newcastle
different than
are to be a
you know
lot better.
some of the records that we shattered. You know, halfway through, 50 points, never got. That's what you do. Yeah. How you get more points is you continue to improve, like we did this season, and that's going to mean strengthening, having better personnel, having the balls to say this player's no good anymore. We've outgrown this player. We need to get rid of this guy now and bring in someone that is more in keeping with what we're doing. That's how you get more points.
Here we go again. It's not necessarily the shitbag 6, but it's a bag of players that need to go because our levels are raising. It's no longer a shitbag 6. Rob Holding can do a job for a mid-table team, you know. But depth and injuries have cost have meant that he has to play. So Tony, it goes like this: we get better, we strengthen in the right areas. We know Newcastle are going to do it. We know Chelsea might get better if they have a better manager. Someone better than
Definitely they get better.
Frank Lampard. We know Newcastle and Man United will get better. The onus is on all of these 4 other teams to take more points off City.
Yeah, but I don't see us gaining points. How are we going to gain points? I just
We get better defenders to come in behind Saliba. We get better
we
midfielders.
can already do that. There's guys available that can sign because their contract's up.
Okay, that's how we do it then. You just convinced yourself, right? You
It's
want us to get better, right, Tony?
what we have not seen Arteta use a revolving players. He uses the same ones.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the cup competitions, they might not start, but they're going to come on with 40, 50 minutes left, or they're going to start and play 50, 60 minutes. That can't happen. If you want to finish higher in the table.
And here's something else, Tony, that we're going to need to do next season. Our squad's going to have to get better so we can be involved in cup competitions. So we don't have to bin off the FA Cup. We don't have to bin off the Carabao Cup. We can be competitive in the Premier League and stay there. This is the challenge, right?
Yeah, but that includes using players like Balogun and the other youth players that are getting loans and stuff. That should be integrated into the team, but they probably won't.
Let me ask you this, Tony. You saw that game last night. Can you identify the areas that we need to strengthen in?
Midfield, and we need fullbacks.
Right. There you go. I mean, Gary, isn't it true when you see a game like this against the best team in the land? They show you your weaknesses.
But what's strange though is last year you had Tavares. Which is good at going forward. I don't know if he's any better than is Zinchenko any better than him when it comes to scoring.
Okay, but you're just kind of nitpicking in a small area.
It's not nitpicking. It's that even when Tierney comes in, Tierney copies what Zinchenko does. He doesn't do what Tierney usually does, stay back and protect. Or just run up and do some crosses.
That's because he's been coached to do that, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what the manager believes is the requirement that you need to play in that role, that position.
Hasn't it gotten us
rightly or wrongly?
Hasn't it gotten us to record points in amounts of games? But hasn't this process gotten us to this amount of points in that amount of games that stand
It's
reference?
not a sustainable process, though. I've told you that before.
You're acting as if the last 4 games didn't show you that it worked for 30 games? It worked for 28, 27 games?
29 games, yeah.
But at 1, 2, 3, 4 times you try it, it didn't work. At some point before you get to the 3rd game, something's not working in the last 2 games we played. We have to choose something different, and we did exactly the same thing. That shows, what is that? Naivety, stubbornness, all this type of things.
I think he's a stubborn.
And it's like not working. And you know what? He hasn't learned. He could sit on Pep's bench, but he didn't learn a thing. Pep's not going to sit around and wait for something to fester and continue to get bad. He's going to change it. Change the way the players are playing on the pitch. Something. You don't change anything.
I don't know if you can learn from Pep. To be honest, I don't know if you can learn from Pep.
He's sitting on the bench next to the man while he's won 2 Premier League titles. You tell me he didn't learn anything from him, like how to make substitutions? When guess what? He's talking to Arteta while the game's going on and making substitutions. You don't think Arteta remembers any of that situation?
Right.
Come on.
Right.
He learned something from the man.
Hold on a second, Tony. The other thing is, Pep has always had the best players
so much
in the country. Pep has always had the best players.
That doesn't matter. You have
it does matter.
Georgina on the bench. Tell me,
that doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. You
have the best players, and it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter in the sense that guess what? Other teams have given them better games. Why is that? They don't have better players than us. You look at
they
all
played.
the losses and draws that they had, except for Bayern Munich. You're telling me that's because those teams have better players than we do? No.
Pep has taken jobs
No.
where
You answered the question. The teams that have beaten this City team, do any of them have better players than us?
Liverpool have some better players
Do
than us.
any of them have the way we're playing this season have a better team than us?
But
a better
Gary,
squad
you're
than
not
us?
talking about.
We
You're
can't.
not
1
talking
minute you
about,
said the way that
Gary,
we
you're not
got here.
talking about
No. Wait a second.
machines.
Let me finish.
You're talking
1
about
minute you just
people.
said. 1 minute you just said the reason why we're here is because of the way we've been playing and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but that's
Right?
in the league.
Let me. So what's it? I'm talking about the league. They lost to that team.
Gary,
Yeah.
if it was
this
that way,
league.
if it
You
was
can
like
win
what
the
you're
league
talking
without
about,
beating
Gary,
that team.
if it worked like how you're
No, you can't just
describing,
start.
right,
You're
then
switching the
everybody,
goalposts every time I
I'm
bring
not.
something up. You just
Gary,
said. I just told you.
Gary, if
We
it
are a
works,
better
if
team
it
than
works
most
like the
every other
way that
team
you're
in this league.
describing,
And
then
why can't
only
we
the
get a good game
favourites
against
in
them?
horse races would win every horse race
That's
because they're
not
the
what I
favourite.
said. That's not what you're not listening. You just want to. That's not what I
No,
said at all.
it is what you said.
How
No.
could
It is what
you
you said.
said?
It's
How
exactly what
can
you said.
Brentford? You said how can Brentford beat City and Arsenal can't? That's what you said, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
you guys
basically
said it's
like
because
saying
you
that
said it's
every
because they have
favourite in
better
the horse
players,
race
and I'm like,
should win.
they had a
I
better.
didn't say. I didn't
And I
say
said
that.
they don't have better players than us. So why can't we compete? We didn't even. You looked at the game, right? We didn't even compete with City. Why? Why is that?
I think
We played
if
them 3 times this season. When do
I
we
think
look like
if
we had an
City,
opportunity to win?
I
they're
think
better
if
than us.
if City played Real Madrid last night, City would have beaten them 4-1, maybe 4-2.
We
You
played
know,
them 3 times. All of the times. When did you think we're going to win?
City. Did you see City last night? They played really well, did they not?
Yep.
And we're a good team, and we didn't look like a good team last night. You know,
And that's why I said we got to
we've
change
seen us.
something up,
Yet we've
right?
seen us play
So
better
but
than
you're
that,
telling me
haven't we?
we're supposed to stick with what we've been doing, even though you know it's not going to work.
I'm saying
Because
add a player like Declan Rice or Caicedo
No, we're
who's
not
going to
talking
help
about
us in that game
tomorrow.
next
Let's not
season.
talk about tomorrow just yet. We're talking about right now, right?
Sure.
Tomorrow we could get messy. We can go get everybody.
We
But
already talked about
that's
the
only a
game last
dream.
night, so I don't know why we have to go back to
You
this.
brought it up. I was just following up with what you were talking about. You brought up this whole thing about the
Yeah,
way we're playing, and I continued with it.
fair
I didn't
enough.
start
Fair
this.
enough. I think Tony, go ahead. You haven't had enough airtime tonight.
Ray,
I'm getting
earlier in the
elders
show,
tonight.
earlier in the show, you're going on about how Pep coached Barcelona. Yeah, how he's won in 3 different leagues.
Yes.
How the fuck do you not want to or learn something from him sitting on the sidelines?
Maybe. And here's the thing. Maybe he did learn from Pep. And maybe we're in this position because he's implementing the style of play. It's just my opinion. But we don't have 22. We know this. We don't have 22 world-class players yet.
But that doesn't excuse the fact that we do have a player like Trossard and a player like Georgina
Correct.
that can start for us.
I've already
but we-
acknowledged all of
Yeah,
this.
so
I
you
agree
can't
with
just
you.
all of a sudden say, well, you know what? Because we don't have 11 players, we can't make any changes to maybe change the way the game's going.
Carrie,
We do
there's
have
only
players that can make a difference.
Arteta can pick the team, and we would
No,
have
no.
wanted
That doesn't mean it. What are you talking about? That's nonsense. You just said he doesn't have 11 players. I said he's got 2, and he never used them in any of the games to change the games.
I agree with
before.
you. I agree with you.
He's a stubborn bastard. He's not going to change.
Now,
we gotta
what you're asking is, he sat beside Pep for many years. Has he learned anything? Maybe he's implementing right now what he's learned from Pep.
Yeah, he's implementing total football, which has been around
Maybe he sat
for a
next,
long time.
maybe he sat next to Pep, rightly or wrongly, but maybe he sat next to Pep and saw some things and thought, you know what? When I'm in the chair, I ain't doing that. Who knows?
You know why? Because Pep
knows?
actually showed him that, guess what? When the game's not going the way I want, I will make a change. He saw that this season. He didn't need to be sitting next to him. He was actually on the field on the other side in the other coach's box while he watched Pep go, you know what? This game's not going the way I want. Guess what? Silva, this, playing as a fullback against Saka, we're done with that. Let's move you up the pitch and see how this thing pans out. So he's getting schooled. He's not taking down any notes,
Now he has players who are I think they're built in his image. A tough.
I want players better than him, so I'm sorry. I want players.
Yeah.
If you're saying they're at his level, I'm saying no. I need players better than him.
Yeah. Listen, what an opportunity we missed at the Emirates. If we somehow have the courage to go on and take some chances, win that game, not take chances at the back with Gabriel Magalhaes trying to play that ball, Jack Grealish scoring at the Emirates. The game's over when Haaland scores for 3-1. What an opportunity we had, because we had a game in hand. We were 3 points ahead of them already, and we could have really turned the tables on them. What could have been, right? If we beat them at the Emirates, I think we totally discouraged them from going on and trying to close the gap on us, which they knew they had to win that game at the Emirates, and they got the W. So what?
But I mean, you can really boil it down, right? Taking yesterday's game out of the question and looking at our overall performance across the season.
Yeah,
we're in second place against a team that's being charged with some sort of financial doping and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what anybody else wants. Do they want us to do that to keep up with them? This is where we are. We were 8th place last season. 8th place last
season.
5th. 8th before that, then.
Yeah.
The one before that.
Yeah.
That's right. 5th. And then 2 8s before that. This is improvement.
Yeah. And we could be, if we win these 15 points, we could finish 21 points ahead of where we finished last season on 90
Big
points.
Improvement.
90 points. Add a few more pieces, Tony. And Arteta's got to get a little bit better with his management of substitutes, recognizing dangers.
We haven't seen it.
As we said, Tony, be a little bit more pragmatic in some of these games as well, and not too open.
I got a stat for you, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Average substitution of the league, 61 minutes and 38 seconds.
Okay.
And 1 hour usually.
Also,
about 78 minutes.
Who, Arteta? 78?
I'm just saying. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, listen, he's got to be a bit more proactive. Gary's been banging that drum throughout the season.
You got 5 substitutions. I don't know why he's not doing more with it.
You can make substitutions in the first half. You saw this going south after 20 minutes. We didn't have
What's
any.
weird is that he did it in Europa, but he will not do it in the Premier League.
Stan, you're hanging on to a point.
I was just going to say, maybe had I not seen Arsenal win leagues in the past, and I'd been supporting Arsenal, say, for the last 19 years, and I hadn't seen it before, maybe I would feel differently. I get that, right? If you've been supporting Arsenal for the last, say, 20 years, this is the closest that we've come, and I can understand the angst,
the
disappointment, the reason of saying that we've bottled it and it's a failure. I would probably be more. I'm just saying, maybe if I was in that place, maybe I'd be more leaning towards that kind of rhetoric.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, Stefan's here as well. He's saying players get tired. Arsenal haven't got the quality to bring in like for like players in for certain games.
We have that, though. We have that.
Like for like.
Press hard. We have Georgina.
Not everywhere, though.
But like those are 2 players we needed. Yeah. We could have brought them in.
Yeah.
I understand we don't have it for the other 9 positions, but the ones we do, use them.
Yeah.
How do we buy a center back we can't use in January? It makes no sense.
It's not that we can't use him,
No, we can't use him.
He has to be better than Rob Holding. Has to be.
Gary is on. You might want to take this one back, Thunder Road. Gary's on one tonight. Jez and Matt are rubbing off. Toxicity.
Are you
feeling that? Have you
Have I
got
really
an air of
been that bad?
toxicity about you, Gary?
Have
Or
I been really that bad? I'm just telling you what I
You'll have
do
to
this
start
game
drinking
by
red
game.
wine, Gary.
Ugh.
all right, Stan.
I don't think I've been that bad.
You know, Matt isn't with us anymore, so we wish Matt well. Hope you're doing well, Matt.
Okay.
Hope
He's
you're
talking
working
about the
about
Matt.
the
He's
other
talking
Matt.
about the Matt from Monday show.
No, I'm talking
Yeah,
about
Gary's
Matt.
Matt.
I'm
Yeah,
talking
but
about
he's
Matt.
talking about the Matt from
Oh
our
yeah,
Monday
yeah.
show.
Well, okay, two different Matts.
I just want to know what he eats for fucking Sunday
well,
dinner.
Now it's going to be Stan. Now it's going to be Stan who's going to tell you what's for supper. Okay, so it's going to be a new segment on Thursday nights because
What are you eating after the show?
Stan's dinner's ready
Before the
now,
show.
and he's leaving us now probably.
I got a steak and kidney pie. Yeah.
He just winked at me. I don't like you.
Rob
Oh,
Holding.
sorry, I was
Rob
channeling
Holding.
Rob Holding.
Rob Holding. No, Gary, you haven't been that bad. Just kidding.
I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah, every
I
time
got
you
less
wink
hair
now,
than Rob Holding.
you got a little bit less. A
I,
little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
I
less.
like
I want get
I
that
like Thunder
surgery,
Road
Stan.
showing
Get those
your
hair implants, and I want a hairband, Grealish style next season.
I tell you what, we have to keep Rob Holding. He brings the birds in. I'm telling you, my missus quite likes him. He brings the birds in. And, you know, you need one of them,
I
right?
don't want him, man. I want somebody who
He's
plays some
our
football.
Jack Grealish. He's our
No,
Jack
no,
Grealish.
he's not. He
He's
is
our
not.
Fonzie.
He is not our Jack Grealish. No.
All right.
Ray.
Yeah.
Are you gonna let your hair down? It's about time that
When we win something, I'll let my hair down. And top four is not a trophy. You know what I mean? Top four is not a trophy. Yeah. Haaland looked a bit freaky with his hair down. And I don't like him either. I don't like many of those City players. Stan, are you sticking a bit or going?
No, my dinner's coming out of the oven now. So I'm going to have a nice warm steak and kidney
You should
pie.
let it cool for 5 minutes, Stan.
Yeah, but you know, I've got to do some other preparing, gravy and shit and all that. You know what I mean? Bits and pieces and stuff.
Get the bisto out. Get the bisto out. All right.
Yeah. I'll see you on Sunday.
Sunday, yes. We'll do something Sunday.
Yeah. Listen, I just want to say to everyone, right? And again, especially if you're one of those that this is your first experience in the last 20 years, you know, and you're feeling frustrated, keep your chin up.
Yeah.
Keep your chin up. We've already seen this manager bring us in an FA Cup. I think there's more to come. There's money that's going to be spent in the summer. I told you, right? Mikel Arteta is itching to drop 100 mil on someone.
80 maybe 80.
You know what I'm saying? He wants to drop big money on someone as a statement. So, you know, this is not, you know, we don't just give up after a season. We're stuck with the club for that's it. Listen, if you didn't know, you're stuck with Arsenal for the rest of your life. That's it. Now you've made that choice. That is it. Thick and thin.
We've seen Gary smile before, and he'll smile again. It'll be okay.
Yeah,
I was smiling at the beginning of the show.
Unless you got a half and half scarf. This is it. This is it. You've made a decision.
Yeah. Don't switch to City right now.
No.
Come on.
What happens though when you really want to watch Gary?
Have a good week.
You really want to see Gary smile? You put on some wrestling. he loves it.
Do you enjoy wrestling, Gary? Grown men?
No, I do like
grown men in costumes.
Let's not get into that.
He loves it.
Okay.
Like, I like to see Gary smile.
Listen, we love Gary.
Yes.
He thinks we set him up or something. I don't know. It's not like that, Gary, at all. A little bit of banter, a little bit of fun.
Down the road, usually pick it on
Gary, Arsenal have given us some good moments this season. It's not over yet, right?
No, you know what? The way that I work is I show my cards. I'm going to show you what my cards say now.
On the chest, right?
So everything that's going on, that's how I feel. Because there's no what am I saving it up for? I'm going to say this. I probably might say the same things at the end of the season, but it's off my chest. I can just be 100% at the end of the season based on what's happened. But like,
are you trying to say you're a realist, Gary?
No. I look at the game and this is how I'm going to respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
in a couple of days when we're getting ready to play Chelsea, I won't even be thinking about this game as much
Yeah.
because it'll be time to get ready for Chelsea, right? And then Chelsea comes and I'll go out, however that game goes. Like when we win, we're happy. We're talking about the game just the way we are. It's just there's not as many negative things
Let
going on,
me
right?
share something with you. My wife, it was about probably 20 minutes into the game, my wife offered me some string cheese. Do you want some string cheese? No, I don't want string cheese. She left me alone. She left me alone for the rest of the
That's a
game.
strange offer.
Yeah.
You're like,
No, it's really string cheese, Gary.
no, but
A snack.
whatever you do at the house is all right.
Yes.
Can we have another?
No.
Can we continue talking about string cheese for a second?
Sure.
No.
Go ahead.
Do we want to? Is the question.
Is it got something to do with total football and string
No, it
cheese?
does not. Ex-girlfriend from Amsterdam came in here for a go through the grocery store, and the most surprising thing she saw was string cheese. She was like, "What's this?" And bought a bottle and took it back home to
See, Gary,
Amsterdam.
it's a thing. It is.
No, it's not the thing. It's just like, was she watching the game? Did she realize your team was just poor? And did you say anything that led her to believe that string cheese was going to make this situation better?
No, quite the opposite. It was like, I'm not thinking about string cheese right now. You know what I mean? I don't think she watches my podcast back, so I'm not going to get any
I have one
blowback.
more question. I have one more question, right?
Sure. You're learning about me today.
If she offered you jalapeno cheddar Cheetos,
Oh,
would
yeah.
you have took them?
Yeah, I'd be down. Yeah, I'd be down for that. Stefan, always great to have you with us. We realize the hours are 4 a.m. in the morning in the UK, so get some sleep. Take care, everyone.
They're used to staying up late on Thursday, right?
I always have a lot of respect for the people in the UK who do go to Gary's show as well on Mondays. They're late into
I like
the
to
UK
know their
hours.
performance at work the next day. Are they just like zombies showing up at work?
Hey, once in a while you can mail one in and work, right? And Arsenal is more important sometimes.
Yeah, but that's like every week, though.
Ireland has been class this season. This is the way I think about it, Tony. Tomorrow's Friday, right? So, hey, most Fridays are a little bit more chill than Mondays, at work. So that's the way I phrase it. Stephen, have a good night as well. Everybody get their sleep. Gary, I think I've seen Arsenal fans being afraid of, but Newcastle are going to be better. Man United are going to be better. Liverpool are going to be better. Chelsea have 55 players. If they get a coach, they'll be better. Yep. I kind of want that because I want teams to be able to take points off of City as well.
How do they meet financial fair play?
I don't know. It's not a new question, though, right?
No, but they haven't spent money like this. In 2 windows, they haven't spent 600 million. That just,
yeah. I think, as Stan said, Gary, teams face up against a team in the tunnel, and they're already beaten before they go out. And look, if you look at Haaland, you might feel that way. Look at Kevin De Bruyne, they might feel that way. Yeah. But I think some point teams can take points against City. We've got to do it ourselves. We can't just rely on other teams to do it as well. Yep. We've got to get better. I want next season at the Etihad to have Saliba in our starting lineup. Maybe a Partey that's not gone 24, 30 games. Declan Rice, maybe.
Do you still want Partey? What will he be? Will he be 32?
He'll be 32. I don't think we should sell Partey this summer.
I was screaming for his head, so I was
Yeah,
like,
but
just bring me Casado and Rice, and then let's
so
move
you
on.
would not add to Partey, you would replace
I would
Partey.
replace because like you said, if we can get money from him, if we can't, then yeah. But
Are you sure about that now, or is this sort of a reflex decision you've made in the light of 24 hours?
I can't.
Next season,
You know what?
Partey.
I'm just gonna blame you because you said it.
Look at these shoulders; they're broad enough. Come on.
You said you said 24, and he won't
No,
make. No,
no, not you.
said you said
We.
24. I'm
No,
going.
Gary.
I'm blaming this on you. I'm blaming it on you.
I'm gonna curse at you. No,
I'm blaming it on you.
you started
So
this.
so you the one that
Maybe I
one
started, but
that brought up the number
you got on
24.
board with it. You got on board with it. You can't do
That
that to
doesn't.
me now.
Yeah, but you are the founder and the originator of the 24. So you have to just hold it, man. Hold it. It's all yours, man. It's all
Listen,
yours.
I might have talked about Trossard first, but Stan got on board with it, right? And now you love Trossard too,
I
right?
like Trossard. I didn't. Why didn't I like Trossard? What was? Do you know the reason why I didn't like Trossard?
You thought he might be a disruptive force.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think so. That would be the case.
Yeah.
Alonso's here right at the end to close the show out.
He's funny like that.
Alonso, fresh from work.
How's
Hello.
Karen Gibbs doing tonight?
Kieran Gibbs. I think he's doing FA Cup coverage on ESPN. I noticed Kieran Gibbs on ESPN. So, Alonso, you're going to be with us for about 10 minutes, and then we'll go backstage. So,
Okay.
Okay, Thunder Road missed the 24 talk. Basically, I noticed, Gary's putting this on me. It probably was me. I noticed Partey was only fit for 24 games the last 2 seasons. Gary,
No, I think it was I thought it was. I
last
thought it
season.
was like it was definitely with Arsenal, but I think it was
Yeah.
even before that maybe.
He only got
Oh.
24 Premier League games. Here we are in 33 games played. Partey is still running, but very slowly now.
Since
So
we don't have Matt, we can ask
Gary's
Alonso,
blaming me.
what's for dinner?
Spaghetti.
Chris.
Crisps.
Hey, Chris. Hey, you're not spooning Chris into your mouth.
Good job. Spaghetti.
So, Gary, since you're the only one participating in football talk, I'll stay with you, Gary.
Hi, Gary. How are you doing, Gary?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Hi, Tony. Hi, Ray.
Hi, Alonso. Gary, if City are going to be this good and continue to win leagues, can we go into other areas next season and win trophies?
Well, we're gonna have to because we've had to be able to compete in other competitions
Mm-hmm.
since Arteta's been here. He just hasn't figured that out.
Or just hasn't valued them?
Well, his team is not going to get better if the message is we can take some games off. I will not coach you guys up for the little cup games. I will not set up a formation, an implementation, players to try to get wins in those games. So that's what I feel he does.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do that, so he doesn't give them his 100% attention, and we play like it. Right? If you look at the way
I feel
we
like
play
I've
in these
done this
games,
like half.
and then he
show.
has to bring in, then he's forced to bring in his starters because guess what? The way we're playing in those games, they can't do the same things. Like either you have players that can perform the same way,
Mm-hmm.
or you change up. Right? We just talked about it. You change up. You either ask them to do different things in a particular formation, or you just change the formation altogether. Right? Because it doesn't make any sense to try to. I don't like the whole. I want us to win every game, and that should be the mindset of everybody goes on the pitch. And I don't feel like that's what happens. It's like we went into those 2 sporting games. Yeah, it's all right.
Half-hearted. Yeah,
And
half-hearted.
I think that just begets a poor
You know what's kind of
performances.
annoying about that? That we chose an away game to blood Kivior
No,
with
I'm just
Turner,
saying. I told
right?
you
And
that. I told you that.
we put ourselves in a tough position for a home leg where William Saliba played and injured himself.
But you
You
know
know?
what? As somebody said, if he didn't get injured in that game, he would have got injured in another game.
Uh,
Because you're just talking about 2 games in the season that he played extra at that point in the season. So he might have gotten hurt later on, and
I'm
maybe
not a believer in that.
no, but like you can't complain he got hurt in this game because he played in it, and not get hurt in another game because you know what, he was already hurt at that point. If he was going to get hurt, and because he would have been jumping for a ball,
Sure.
you're thinking if he was playing in the City match or the Liverpool match when they're putting crosses in, he wouldn't be jumping for that because that's where I think he got hurt, right? He was jumping or something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't remember I thought he got hurt in a play and not necessarily like doing
A
something
celebration. I think he got hurt in celebrating the goal.
So if we don't score, he won't get injured, is what you're saying.
Yeah. If you don't walk out onto the road when a car is coming, you don't
So
get
if we don't
hit.
try to win, then we would keep him, but we probably lose the game anyways, or any other game per se. So he
Listen,
shouldn't celebrate goals because if he does, he will lose. And guess what? We are trying to score, so we are hurting him by
you
scoring.
can't tell me that he would still be injured if he didn't play that game where he didn't get injured.
I can't tell you that, but
No
he got
more than
injured
I can
playing a
tell
foot.
you.
But guess
the
what? If that
opposite.
was a Champions League game, would you say, guess what? He shouldn't play in the Champions League game because he might get hurt? I believe we should have been treating this as a rehearsal for going in the Champions League.
Yeah.
That's what and Arteta did not do that. He didn't give these games the respect that they did. And in regards to, I need to be prepared for Champions League. Like we're not going to turn it on next season because it's Champions League all of a sudden. When for like the last 3 seasons we have treated all these extra games as okay, maybe we will play in these. No, you have to be trying to win all your games, no matter what. That has to be the focus. You can't. Everybody said this whole like.
There's no team does that, Gary.
We've got bigger fish.
Man City don't do that.
They've tried to win every game with whoever they have on the pitch, and they will make adjustments and move players around to try to win every game they play.
But
we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't put ourselves in positions to win.
But also, Gary, to your point, City have a team A and team B where they can compete no matter what, right? They had the depth to do so. Where Arsenal don't have that. They have talented players in some departments, right? But Arteta doesn't play them. Arteta doesn't, right?
No, see, then that's an excuse then because we haven't been playing extra games.
Right, but my
right,
point
like City, somebody was looking at this. We have 5 games left to play. They have 8,
7,
or it's now at 7. But right,
plus cup games.
So we are able to rest between 5 to 6 days in between each game, and we can't. And I think that's a problem because if we're talking about going into the Champions League, we have to be used to playing on short weeks.
Yeah,
that's how it works. So if we can't even do 5 to 6 days, like we looked at the Leicester and we said, why did Leicester win?
I don't think
the league, right? We said, well, the Leicester won it because they only had to play 1 game a week. Now we put ourselves in a situation where, guess what? We only have to play 1 game a week, and we look the way we do. And it's like,
if you believe it's physical, I agree with you. If you believe it's physical, for me, I think it's a lack of maturity, and we've been making mental mistakes.
Yeah, but why are you making mental mistakes?
We haven't been drawing games.
You have 5 to 6 games.
Yeah, we have 5
days to get prepared to play.
We have 5 to 6 days, but it's not physical for me. It's mental. We're making mental mistakes.
But the mental stuff wasn't there to start with. Our mental was our strength.
Why is there
mentality comes in the run-in. Why do you think they call it the run-in? Why do you think they call
So,
it squeaky bum time?
Yeah, but
You know?
Ray, a team would score a goal and we'd instantly give it back.
Correct. In
So-
January, in February,
So what's the difference?
April. April's the difference. You have
Is
less games.
it the minutes or there's
No,
mind?
I think Tony,
How
the
does your
players,
mind change?
the players have been aware. If you make a mistake now, you don't have much room for error now. They've played tight. Ramsdale has played tight. Gabriel Magalhaes has played tight.
Oh my god, dude! During this stretch of games, Magalhaes have been the most. Is just as guilty as whoever, but
I don't think it's a physical thing, Gary. I get what you're saying. 5 and 6 days rest, and next year it's got to be we have a rhythm every 3 days. We're playing, we're rotating. But I really feel it's not so much physical exhaustion as mental exhaustion of this City team coming. And there's rumors of Arsenal players talking about Man City, and Man City have gotten in their heads a little bit.
And that's like Arteta's got to get them to think different. Get that out
You
of their
can't
head.
tell somebody to think differently.
Yeah,
We're all
but you got
gonna
to
talk.
focus their attentions on the little things, so they don't worry
Sure.
about who's
Yeah.
on the other side of the pitch, right? That's his job. We talk about these players having all this support. Part of it being the manager, part of it being psychologists. All these things we talk about. This is what all these players get.
Yeah.
Now we're saying, oh no, we can't do anything about that. No, that's their job is to focus on the task at hand. The players that the 11 players on the other side of the pitch, and we weren't playing a powder blue team when we played Liverpool or West Ham or Southampton, right?
I think we've all felt stress at work. Have you felt any stress at work, Gary?
Everybody's
Gary
felt. I
just
don't know,
started a new job. Of course,
We've
he's
all
stressed.
we've all felt stress, I think, and stress plays a big part in what
Don't you
you're
learn
trying.
from your experiences though?
No, because if you
Oh,
have
you don't
stress-
learn from your experiences, so you don't get better the next time it happens. This
no, if
happened.
you have
This happened
stress,
last year. The same time. So 12 months ago, same period. Guess what? You've got 3 games going in, and if you do well in this, guess what? You get a bonus.
Alonso
Guess what
showed
you
up
do?
to see
You
Gary
just
and
told me
Ray
you
fight
just
for 30 minutes.
freeze. You just
I
freeze
think
and
you
you go,
can.
you know what? I didn't learn anything from the last
Yeah.
year.
I think we can learn from this experience.
But
this year.
we did it last year, and we came back and we did it again.
We did it.
Wow.
We were worse last year. We didn't have
Oh.
Zinchenko, Saliba, or Gabriel Jesus last year.
And this season we had all of them, and we did worse accordingly.
No, we
'cause
did better.
We got better with our quality of players, and we couldn't even get a win. We had 3 tries to get a win.
Yes.
Didn't get one.
Yes. I'm not happy about it either.
Not only that,
But-
but we had leads in 2 of them. 2-goal leads in 2 of them, and we didn't finish the job.
Yeah.
Well,
So, and if you recall, in those 3 games last season, we didn't have leads in a lot of those games. I don't even think we had a lead in any of those games.
No, we didn't have a lead
We
in
had
any
leads in these games.
of them. Yes.
we lost those games too.
I mean, I hate it. It's just it is annoying that we should be sitting on 6 or 7 more points than we are now.
9
you know,
points.
We should be in the 80s right now, Alonso.
Yeah, 9 points because he's thinking of the Everton and the Brentford games.
Yeah, listen, you're not going to get them all. You're not going to get them all, but it'd be nice.
Why
to have
not?
some of them.
Why not? Because that's what City
No,
has to do.
well, yeah, I don't think any team goes 38-0, 38 wins and a 38.
Nobody said 38-0. I just wanted us to go 10-0. Remember
Yeah.
that? That's all I told you. I said, can we just go 10-0?
I know.
Liverpool looked like they were to do that.
Leon
years
Shorto. Leon Shorto's here. Thanks for joining us. The team was running around in the Etihad as a headless chickens, mostly the defenders. That is not how Arsenal used to be. There's a clear problem mentality, and it's being forced upon by the best team in the land as well, in Manchester City. And, they may have completed one leg in their treble with that win last night if they go on and be perfect in the league.
They don't even have to be perfect.
No. They can afford to drop
They can
points.
drop points in 2 games.
Yeah.
Because they will
And
most
you know what?
likely beat us on goal difference.
They
Even if,
will.
and we
They
have to go
will.
perfect to push that.
Yeah. They have to play Fulham on Sunday. We don't get to play the weekend. They could be on top of us by Sunday. If they beat
That's true.
Fulham, we'd need Fulham to do something for us at Craven Cottage. And then we'll have to go and try and beat Chelsea at home. Arsenal haven't progressed since last season. They are at second because other teams really played worse. I don't think so. I think you have to look at our points tally. We have played really well this season.
Yeah.
And I think we have frustrated a lot of our rival fans, actually. Man United, Liverpool, and Tottenham fans have, and
It's
Chelsea fans.
It's a combination.
It's not, it is a
Look at
combination.
the points on the table, right?
It's a combination, yes. We're like 22 points ahead of Liverpool.
So wait,
How many good teams are they?
did we play that you went? Those are probably losses in
How
past
many-
seasons.
how many good teams are there, right?
which teams are you
Our
talking
questions for you,
about?
Tony.
Four out
Four
of 20?
teams. 4 teams, and you think we're going to lose all 8 games?
No, I was talking to the race saying there's only 4 good teams in the league.
No,
this
but I'm
season.
saying you're saying that's because the teams have been poor this season. I'm saying how many of those teams, how many games or how many teams should we be behind
Yeah,
if
what
they're
should have been
having
different?
a better year?
Be in a battle for 4th to 5th.
No. How many teams?
How many teams?
Which teams?
You know the teams, Gary.
No, I don't. That's why I'm asking. I need an answer from you. How are you gonna? You can suggest it. I'm like, can you? Which teams are you talking about that are
You got
giving us second
Liverpool,
place?
you got Chelsea.
Okay, which results should have been different, Tony?
Should have been different.
Yeah, you're saying.
Are you saying we would lose every game to Liverpool and every game to Chelsea?
No. I'm just saying, I was talking about this year, there's only 4 good teams.
Yeah, but you just said we wouldn't be like the comment from Leon Chordo was that like we were in second because all these teams are bad. And I think
Other
you're saying
teams really played worse.
And I'm saying which teams are
I
we talking about that
look
are
at
better?
Liverpool and Chelsea have played really worse, but that's the season that they've had. You know, even if they'd played better, who's to say that they would have met 22 points up on us in Liverpool's case? Chelsea are even further behind. You know,
well, what happened the last time they were in this position, right?
Yeah, listen, that was last year, right?
No. What was the last time they finished in the position they are now?
Who?
Liverpool and Chelsea.
Last season? Is that what we're talking about?
Not last season. I'm saying the last time.
Oh my God!
finished
Don't
this
say
far
they're
down
going to
the
win
table.
this Champions
Last time they were this
year,
far down the table.
Tony.
We are 19 points ahead of 5th place right now.
Do
So
know,
you're saying so we're 19 points ahead of 5th place, meaning we would have to be 20 points worse than we are today to be out of the top 4.
Yeah, or even half of that. Like,
and we're saying that. Oh, guess what? There are
we would have had to lose 4 games and another team to win 4 games to be ahead of us. Let's say Man United, for argument's sake, because they're the best out of these 3 right now. Man United would have had to win 4 more games than they have already, and Arsenal would have had to lose 4 games to even make that be a thing, Leon Chardo. So I don't get it, what you're saying.
Did we beat Chelsea last year?
Did we beat? Yes, we beat them at Stamford Bridge.
And we didn't lose.
They beat us at the
both
Emirates.
games to Manchester United last. We beat Manchester United last year.
It was 1 each.
Right.
Do you know what this season?
Liverpool's
like,
we lost to twice to them, right? So if we're getting better, we may have split with them. So really and truly, those 4 games that we may have dropped points in, right? Again,
Well, not
versus
22 points worth, right?
yeah.
Leon Charter said we bottled the lead last year for a top 4 position. This year we did the same for the title shot. The difference is we're fighting the best team in the land now. Last season we were fighting perennial bottlers in Tottenham themselves. You know,
but there was 2 months ago that people were saying Arsenal's the best team in Europe.
no.
Yes,
Who was
they
saying
were.
that? Who
The
was
best
these people?
record. They had a similar record to the best team.
There were
Having
people
a
that were
similar
saying that.
record. So we had the best
Nobody
record in the
said
5
Arsenal was
leagues.
one of the best teams
Yeah.
in Europe.
But-
When you compare
right.
them to Real Madrid, and 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 Manchester City, nobody said that. And Napoli, nobody said that. And AC Milan, nobody said that. I don't think so.
No.
I don't
What
think so.
season
Like
is
in
this
Europe.
like, Ray?
What, Tony?
So what season is this like?
What season is this like? What
We're
season?
the youngest best team in the league.
You talking about 1989 or something like that?
Nope.
What?
He's probably thinking of
Oh,
Manchester
wait.
United when they finished second to
Much
City.
sooner, Ray.
Manchester
Who
United finishing second with what you call
When
it?
an
Everywhere.
unexpected team won the league.
What?
This
When
isn't like
Leicester won the
Leicester.
league.
This isn't
Oh,
like
well,
Leicester.
Yeah, listen, it's not Leicester.
This isn't like
I'm saying
Leicester.
there was only 2 good teams. Everybody else was
What 2
shit.
teams are you talking about? Because it wasn't us, right?
okay.
We were lucky to get
2015.
second, right?
The season where Tottenham
Liverpool
were second.
finished 8th.
Hmm.
Chelsea finished 10th. Then went on to win the league the next year. Liverpool finished 2nd. Because you don't
Yeah.
have to fuck with Europe.
Agreed.
It's easier.
How many points do you think we get, Tony, from these next 5 games? I
have no idea.
I know what we want to happen, but what do you think will happen? Minimum 13 points for me. Minimum. I'd like to see us beat Newcastle at Newcastle as well.
Anything under 15 is a disappointment. Is a failure for me.
We're not
So
getting
88 points.
This team
We're
needs
not,
to
we're
figure
not
out how to
getting
get.
15. There's no way.
Here's a good
Yeah.
question then as well. Alonso, out of the next 5 games, how many points we get?
86.
Okay, so we're dropping 4. Okay, that's 3 wins and 2 draws for you. Okay. We're going to get out of here pretty soon, but Leon Chardo has given us a couple of questions here. If Man United win the FA Cup and finish in top 4, they still have done better than Arsenal, given they have already won the EFL Cup. I've always said winning a trophy is a measure of your season. So right now, Man United have a trophy. And
all second place would do most
Will.
likely is give us the backbone to go into next season, knowing that knowing how a run, how to make a run at the end of the season is really important. So you need to play instead of once again you need to play all 90 minutes. You need to play all 38 games, right? I mean that's basically what this is the second season in a row now, where if you don't play all 38 games, you can lose it at the end. You need to finish strong. And we haven't done that. So,
and it matters going into next season. I'd like to have a winning run of 5 games going into next season as well. Yeah, but look, if United have a trophy on the board, so you got to say to yourself, they've had a pretty good season and more successful than Arsenal. We've had a great season, but second place really doesn't get you anywhere other than Champions League entry.
Better position in the Champions League, but not much, right?
Yeah. Tony, Alonso, anything on that trophy versus none?
Yeah, I mean, it's just frustrating because we could have easily been. We could have gone farther in the FA Cup.
Yeah,
but I think Arteta thought that he, at that time, thought that we could win the league, and he probably sacrificed that cup or the League Cup, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, I wish we could have fought more in those cups, but it is what it is. I think moving forward, hopefully Arteta will learn from his mistakes
Yeah.
and take things more seriously.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what will define him as a manager is how far I go in cups and winning cups. And you could always forget about how good you're gonna be in a league, but there's more games we played as well, like the FA Cup, League Cup, now Champions League. So you have to make an effort to kind of be successful in all competitions, really.
It's not going to be easy to do what Liverpool did last season, be going in 4 competitions and maybe winning a couple of cups as well. If you can't win the league,
Well,
hindsight's 2020. If we had gone all in at the Etihad and beaten City in the FA Cup, we could probably be sitting right now in a with a final to play in the FA Cup in June, and maybe 4th or worst in the league. Maybe we would have said that was a good season as well. You know what I mean? With a chance of a trophy.
Yeah, no matter what Arsenal does, we're going to be looked at as bottlers because
Regretting.
if we're sitting at first and then like you said because we were at first for most of the season or all the season, right?
Mhm.
So if we had, like you said, beaten City and then had all these extra games and then dropped some points, then we would have bottled it. So we're gonna get punished no matter what we do, right?
Yeah, imagine that.
And then if we did win a cup, then it is you bottled it.
Which would have been better.
But then we say we won a cup, and it's like no, but you bottled it. Would be because you know how it works. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
we do, because when we were winning,
Right.
we won FA Cups for like how many 3 or 4 times
We
in
were
the
doing
last
it.
like 6 years.
Yep.
Oh, you guys
4
are terrible.
times in 6 years.
Right?
Yeah.
Now you win a cup. Oh no, it's actually a good thing, right? Now it's a good thing again to win a trophy.
Changes, right? Doesn't the narrative change?
Yeah. So.
Terrible. Newcastle struggling at relegation during the initial phase, not getting top 4. That is again a progress within one season.
Mhm.
Eddie Howe's done a good job with Newcastle. Newcastle's also progressed within the season. They were at the relegation zone. And they will find it harder to push on from 3rd or 4th, wherever they're going to finish.
No, I think everybody's gonna, like somebody said, everybody's gonna get better. So, like nobody expects Liverpool and Chelsea to kind of play the way they did. So now, say it stays the teams that are sitting there and finishing the top 4, and Liverpool and Chelsea also add to the mix, and that team gets a manager that can maybe help them. You've got like 7 teams at least, and we're not even talking about the Fulhams and the Brightons who are also competing
Yeah.
for spots, right? So,
Yeah.
potentially could have, you could more than likely some of those teams will fall by the wayside like usual, but you're definitely looking at maybe 7 teams having an option, fighting for positions in the top 4, and City maybe still finishing up top because, as you say, they more likely will just reload again and add some more, bit weapons to their arsenal that they already have. So
they see these 20-point gaps.
Tony, how Newcastle are 13 points behind us right now. Do you think they close the gap to City? Let's say they're 11 points behind City. Do you think they get closer by next season? And this time next season, they're less than 10 points to City.
Yeah, I wouldn't surprise me at all if they finish 2nd next year.
Right. It is interesting to see how Arsenal can challenge next season when they have to play Champions League. Which one Arteta is going to focus, given he's opting for a bigger
that's
fish.
the problem.
That's the biggest thing, though.
That's the problem, though. He has to play every game to win. You can't be taking. You don't know where your trophy's coming from, and if we're talking about doing this thing, you have to be able to give yourself the best opportunity to win trophies in everything that you do. That's the part that I don't get. So that's why I say we're like 5 to 10 players away, because we have to be able to compete in everything that we do.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Right.
yes, even if you like, look who we lost to in these cup matches, right? Who do we lose to in the cup match?
Brighton,
Yeah, we can't do that.
City,
Not if we're
Brighton and
fighting
City.
City and City with their second string. We got to be able to beat them. We have to.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
to be able to beat them if they go to their second
Yeah.
players. We have.
I agree with you, Gary. You keep your season alive as much as possible. You get into February or March, and you are hopefully in a Carabao Cup final, and maybe you're in the last 16 of the FA Cup, and maybe you're looking at a quarterfinal in the Champions
Yeah,
League,
but
and in a healthy position also in the league as
look
well.
what happens when you chase those cups, though. Last year, Liverpool didn't think they had a chance of competing for the title, so they went for the League Cup.
Do you
Then
think?
City started stumbling, and they could
Yeah.
have won.
Do you think? Yeah. Do you think that what happened to Liverpool was a consequence of 5 years, or just that season? Like the season that Liverpool's having now, do you think it has a knock-on effect from just last season or the last 3 or 4 seasons?
It's just the fact that all those players have gotten older. You could only do that so long. They haven't brought in that many players. They probably sold the wrong attacker, or they probably should have sold both of them, actually.
Yeah. Right. It's time to get out of here in a few minutes. Let's answer a few questions. Alonso, do you want Mount or Kudos?
Kudos.
I'll take Kudos as well. Do you want Rice or Caicedo?
Rice, because he's English born. He's very young still. He's a captain. He brings leadership. And him and Eddie are old mates. So, so why not, right? Anyway, yeah, I mean, I prefer Rice.
Yeah. I'd go for the same combination, Gary. I like Kudos and I like
Who's
Rice.
Kudos? I don't know. Maybe I don't.
Ghana plays for Ghana national team with Ajax. He's a right winger, I think, or left winger. But yeah, he played in the World Cup, I think, as well. But Kudos, Rice or Caicedo, Gary.
I guess I don't know. For me, I guess I'm just gonna go with Mount because I know what he is. I don't know who this guy is. I understand it's a Chelsea player, so yeah, that's a little bit of something there. But you know what? At this point now, I'm like, I'll take either Rice or Caicedo because I would like to have both, but we need to get at least one of them.
It's hard to believe we could get both of them. Arsenal would be going big if we drop 160 on both.
I mean, it would send a statement of what we are going to do, and this is what Liverpool's getting punished for not doing is making sure their midfield was solid. So,
Tony,
with that, I don't know. To me, all this is silly talk because you got us on the watch list because
there's going to be a lot of
wait before you say it's silly talk. Just what are the two players you're going to
transfer?
I don't give a shit about the names. I don't.
I do.
I care about the quality of the.
Yeah, but those are the
quality
players.
comes with the names.
I don't care.
All right.
What do you? So then, what do you have nothing to say then? Come on.
Now it's time to wind it up, isn't it, Gary? More than the new players, I want a new spark of positivity in the squad. They should emulate the mentality of the Invincibles. They were hungry, ruthless on the pitch, ready to give it all. And I think that spikiness that Man City have, we need to develop that as well. Yeah. You know,
I was just gonna say the way that the women team has brought in players.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like necessarily all going out there and getting the best players, but are getting players that fit into their system, right? And they've lost their 3 top players, and they're 1 game away from playing in the final. They've won it already, right? They've lost the 3 best players. They've won a trophy, and they're playing for a chance to go into a Champions League final,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, they've kind of lost their way in the Premier League now, but they have a chance to get another trophy. So,
But Gary, you know why? Because they have an Irish player in there, Katie McCabe.
well,
Doesn't
maybe
take
that's
any
part of the
shit.
problem. But the other part of it is the way that they bring in the players. I understand it's different and all of that, but the premise is that they're bringing in players, all of them that can work for them. They're not bringing in players in January that are not going to play. Right? We did that. We've done that. They're not bringing in players in the summer who aren't ready to play football in the Premier League, right?
Yeah.
So
okay. All right, let's do a roll call. Then we'll have just final thoughts and get out of here. Thank you, Alonso, for joining us tonight. Stan, who's probably has a nice hot meal in his tummy right now. Gary,
there might be hot something else in there by now.
Tony also. Roll call. You want to shout out some people? All of you can do it if you want. BX Gunner was here. Bargov, Leon Chardo.
Yeah.
Why are you skipping Thunder Road?
There you go. You just mentioned them. Thunder Road. Stephen, the Arsenal misfit. Come on, Gary. You're a few behind now. Stefan was here.
It's your show, right? You can announce with people.
Gary's not playing.
You argued with Gary the last 25 minutes. He's mad.
Did I? Mr. Bongo was here. He had his
there you go.
Had his props as well. So
thanks for joining us, people.
Nick Wilson was here as well. Nick Wilson was in.
Oh, nice.
Noe dropped in. Well, Sicko Vibes was here as well. no, these nuts. Alonso. All right. Who else? Thunder Road. We have Thunder Road. Yeah. That's about it. DWTT was here as well. Thank you to DWTT.
Who's that guy?
we like him. He thinks we don't like him, but we love him. We love that.
That guy doesn't know anything about football.
He feels like he's being attacked every show, but he's not at all. And I know now that phrase that you don't like, Gary. So I'll never.
The end of the road.
All right, Gary, take it away. Listen, it felt a little bit like therapy of the last few years, right?
No, this was it sucked because I couldn't get on this show and talk about this stuff. It's like, man, I wanted to talk about this stuff. Having a game midweek midweek was tough. Had to go like 24 hours without talking about it online.
Sometimes I think it's better. But,
I like to get out the original feelings.
Yeah.
And then the next one
because
I
they're
can
usually
be a little bit more.
They're usually the true ones.
Usually the
way I felt after the game, like I even said it. Partey gone, get me both Rice and Casado. That's how I was.
Yeah.
And I still want that, but I understand it won't.
Check us out Sunday, 7 p.m. UK time. We'll be back. Yeah, it's good to get it out, but sometimes I think you're just venting and you haven't really.
You'd be doing that if you went to the game and you watched it, and then like the next day you'd be sitting there going, "All right, let's do this. Be a little bit more constructive here." All right, if you went and watch that City match, you'd be pissed because you just paid money to go see it and wasted your time, and the team didn't know they wanted to play for you and all that kind of stuff. And then you have tickets to the next game. Well, you're gonna have to eventually get it out of your system, right?
Some of this game was horrifying to watch, BX Gunner. During the game, you lost your shit. Don't blame anyone for doing that. Arsenal, Alonso, Arsenal need to give us something on Tuesday.
Yeah, and it's a home game, and it's a derby game. And in the past, we've gotten the better of Chelsea. So why not kick them order down, right? I mean, that would be my best bet, and that would be pretty cool because I remember those days whenever you couldn't even get past Chelsea. So I think now we're getting improvement as far as beating them. And the more and more we beat them, the more and more we could. This is where we need to be with City, right? Is whenever we come to Chelsea, they're just every game. But before they were always, or they were always scared to play Chelsea because they knew they're gonna get beat pretty bad. This is how we need to get beat against the City, right? And it's just really a shame that they didn't win those 3 games before. It just sucks. It's demoralizing as a fan because we knew they could do it, but it's just why City? Why this late in the season?
We were in position at Anfield to win, couldn't get it over the line. West Ham was a crazy game, and Southampton was even worse. Arsenal may drop more points for sure, says Leon Chordo. Mental check and a check on the mentality of this team. They have to go on and get at least 13 points, if not 15. Tony, you get the final word. Gary, thanks. Alonso, thanks. And look,
everyone.
Next season, we'll be in Champions League. There'll be games on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be here on Thursday to talk about them. So, Tony?
Yep. Tuesday, we might have to worry about the managerial bounce. Pochettino at Chelsea.
The bounce. The dreaded manager bounce. Okay. Say good night.
I'm glad to be here. Been a crazy week. It's always nice to come in here, even though I didn't get to say much. Spent like an hour raising my hand with my bad shoulders. Bad Ray.
Hey, there was Gary and that was Stan. It wasn't me. I tried my
Why
best.
do I go first?
It was Stan and Gary.
Okay.
Okay.
But then you're last. Why did you go last? Hey, Gary, you're on Saturday doing a show?
Yeah, we got a Saturday, 11 a.m. for those on the East Coast, 4 p.m. for those in the UK. We'll be talking about the games that are going on. I don't know how many games on, but we'll be talking about that. And no Arsenal, but we'll just talk about what games are going on and chat it up.
Okay, well, we're watching out for Leeds as well. Hope they get out of the mire at the bottom as well. I think they're too good. Not that they're too good, but I think they're good enough to stay up. Thanks everybody for watching.
I have one final question.
I've enjoyed the 3 hours, Tony. We've been here.
One final question, right?
Yeah.
Ready?
He's time wasting, Gary.
Are you ready?
Give me a yellow card.
Acknowledge me.
Yep. I'm listening.
If the game didn't get rescheduled, would we have won the league?
Yeah. That was a home game, wasn't it? That would have been the February 15th game. I was thinking about that today, Tony, and I think next season
it got rescheduled twice because of
next season I want
you got
Arsenal.
The Queen's death.
Okay, listen. Next season I want Arsenal to play City earlier in the season. I think City gather steam throughout the season and get better and better.
So you're saying you don't want King Charles to die?
No, I don't. Thanks everybody for watching. Gary, are you getting on the Peloton?
Yeah, in the morning. Yeah.
In the morning. All right, we're out of here. Go check out Gary on Saturday. Tony, thanks for being here. Alonso, thanks for joining us. We'll see you Sunday back on the circle, 2 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. UK. Come and see us then. We will have a game of Kahoot. Take care, everyone.